The ice dragon's claws shattered under black thunder, and Zhuo Fan hasn't even moved yet. A man this dangerous doesn't need to lift a finger to leave everyone guessing. Hit like and subscribe to see what happens when he finally does. Boom, the dreadful black thunder claw squeezed and the ice dragon's claws exploded to pieces. The thunder flame made sure to burn them to nothing before they got back to its body. The ice dragon shook from fear, looking terrified. The guy was simply standing at the side without a care, till now, and gave off no indication it wielded such godly power, incapable of even being sealed. It flicked its tail and the scared dragon withdrew as he absorbed the cold icy sword waves from the sky and repaired the damage. Its claws were soon good as new. Zhuo Fan was not about to let it go. Since he had to get involved, he would finish it too. Zhuo Fan's eyes shone and the huge thunderflame claw shot forth to clutch the ice dragon's head, bursting it with a squeeze. The ice was blown away, even if formed from the worldly power, ended up burned to nothing from the thunderflame. The thunderflame claw grabbed further at the body and took seconds to turn the 300-meter large ice dragon to pieces, pieces that had no chance of returning, sizzling and gone from this world. The thunder claw grasped one last time and drew a person next to Zhuo Fan. Because of the seal placed on him, Yi Lin's mind was hazy, his body wobbling around. Yet he managed to catch some glimpses through the haze. Thank you, elder brother. After all these years, I still can't catch up to you. It's fine, just be more careful next time. Releasing the claw, Zhuo Fan looked calm as before, still sitting with Chu Qingcheng leaning on his shoulder, having felt nothing of what transpired. Even with all the chaos that went on, along with the ruckus and destruction, Zhuo Fan made sure to keep Chu Qingcheng shielded from even the slightest tremor. Everyone else, though, was too shell-shocked to react. Ouyang Chengqing was gaping even. It was beyond his expert comprehension how the merchant he asked to come watch turned into a world expert himself. The divine move used to crush the ice dragon was beyond sublime. With the ice dragon using sealing, only a divine sword could touch it, but even his dad would have a hard time doing it. Just who the hell is that freak? Shangyu and Qingyan looked on with adoration. But seeing Zhuo Fan and Chu Qingcheng hand in hand, with the pretty face leaning on his shoulder, her joy plunged into confusion. Who is she to him? Why is he so caring with her? I've never seen him act like this with anyone. Gu Yifan. A sudden cry entered her confused mind and saw Murongzu frowning with a complex gaze at Zhuo Fan. Shangyu and Qingyan looked around and rushed to whisper, Sister Zhu, are you sure? How can he be that Gu Yifan? He might wear a mask, but I'll never forget the child next to him. Murongzu was convinced. I also know the black thunder flame he used as well. Black flames are a rarity across the world. It is him, beyond any doubt. Clenching her fists, Shangyu and Qingyan lowered her head. How am I supposed to turn this around when Sister Zhu is dead set on her suspicion? Curses, Sister Zhu is too much of a stickler for righteousness and will definitely tell others. What to do? Shangyu and Qingyan was anxious while looking from Zhuo Fan to Murongzu. Murongzu picked on her cues and whispered, Yanner, did you already know him? No way. Only what I heard from you, haha. Shangyu and Qingyan flinched and forced a straight face on. Murongzu's hard stare was unnerving. Yanner, you don't then? Then why were you so nervous seeing him about to get hurt? Fess up, did you know he was here? Shangyu and Qingyan caved under Murongzu's hard stare, squeezing a helpless nod. Yet you still covered for him. Do you have any idea how dangerous he is? Sister Zhu, he said he came here to save his son. He's no threat to our lands. And you believed him? Of course I did. He helped get our soaring sword back. Shangyu and Qingyan turned defiant under the assault, speaking with conviction, and I saw how much he cared for his son. He won't ever use his son as an excuse, especially when his life is on the line. Murongzu's eyes shook and frowned in thought. Shangyu and Qingyan was anxious. Sister Zhu, I beg of you, don't tell on him, please. He's not bad. If he's so nice, then there's no good left in the world. Murongzu rolled her eyes, then sighed as she looked at Zhuo Fan. I don't need to say anything. His attack painted a target on him. The Sea-Bright sect will place a high value on him, and it's just a matter of time before he's found out. Then let him fake for a while longer. Shangyu and Qingyan sighed as looked at Zhuo Fan with deep concern. Murongzu sighed and shook her head. One guard saw everything that had happened and whispered to Zhuo Fan, Sir, I fear we're now the center of attention. Our cover will be blown. I know. Zhuo Fan glanced at the peaceful Chu Qingcheng and smiled, but it was all worth it. Qingcheng shouldn't have been like these for so many years and should close her eyes and get well. It's what I owe her, what I... Zhuo Fan looked lost and the guard understood as he retreated. Shui Ruohua stared into Zhuo Fan's expressive eyes with astonishment. Sir, why do I find you familiar? Have we met? Zhuo Fan remained silent. Whoosh exalted high ran suddenly landed before them. Giving a long look to Zhuo Fan, he helped Yi Lin from the ground and cupped his hands. Thank you, sir, for your help. How may I address you? Steward Qian Fan, Zhuo Fan replied. Exalted High Ran started Kayan clan from the northern lands. Yes, oh, northern lands have such amazing talent. Exalted High Ran gave him one last look, then cursed inside. He thought Yi Lin and Zhuo Fan from western lands were the peak of what was humanly possible in terms of talent. Now he found that there was one more obscene genius from northern lands. Talent comes in all sizes in every generation and from anywhere. The world will change. Exalted High Ran inspected Yi Lin's weak body, then said to Shui Ruohua, "Take King Cheng, I'm taking you back to look after your wounds." "Hold," Shui Ruohua rushed to obey and take Chu King Cheng, but Zhuo Fan intervened. Zhuo Fan looked at Chu King Cheng with her eyes closed and said, "Only brother here is wounded. Senior can just take him. Miss needs peace to get well, don't disturb her. You can all mind yourself since he is far more important to you, sir. It's best if you don't delay his healing." Ugh, Exalted High Ran knew sarcasm when he heard it, a clear criticism for abandoning them over Yi Lin. He sighed and cupped his hands again before leaving with Yi Lin. Shui Ruohua was stumped as to what to do. Whoosh Lingshan came next on the stage and raised his hand at the uncaring son, who was now shaking in fear at his dad's presence. "You fool, you almost sent us all to oblivion, you know that?" "I know, the elders told me." He held his head with a guilty look, quickly changing topics, "But shouldn't we be tending to the world channel and seal it first? We need to stop the power from flowing in. Why is there no more sword energy in the sky?" Lingshan huffed in anger. "There's no need to seal it, not when it closed itself." "How peculiar then. Weren't you saying that you were clueless and that the elders had to fill you in?" Lingshan railed it on him. "Damn brat, listen up. The worldly power needs to be drawn into the secular world to be controlled. To simplify, your art did that. The world went berserk because you changed the target of the drawing. Like before, the ice dragon became the target, making it so the worldly power focused on him. Once the ice dragon is no more, then there's no one drawing it. Of course the world will return to normal." Yang Changqing bobbed his head. A weakened yet firm voice reached them. "Yang Changqing, let's fight again." It was Yi Lin who was now carried away by Exalted High Ran. "Humph, just a fight. Next time I'll just use one art to beat you again. Let me tell you, the best in the alliance will one day be yours truly, ha ha ha." Bam. Lingshan had enough of his boasting and cuffed him over the head. "You're fighting nothing. Haven't you caused enough trouble? And I thought the best in the four lands had been settled already." Lingshan's eyes shone as he looked at Zhuo Fan. Everyone stared as well in realization. Maybe not only the best disciple in the alliance. Changqing felt conflicted as he looked at Zhuo Fan. He could tell the other was strong, but did not mean he was ready to admit it. Unless a proper match is taking place, no one can say who's stronger. What's the point? That exchange was enough to show the difference between you. Lingshan gave him a sharp glare, then spoke heavily. "That ice dragon is something you and the Western Lands disciple have made with your power. It can be said he fought both of you then and easily beat it. He is far above you in this aspect," and Lingshan grew silent at the end, and Changqing got curious, "And the ice dragon used your strongest heaven-sealing sword art, yet he easily broke it. This shows he is above you. He is in another class than you who are fighting for the best disciple in the four lands. You just can't win against him." Zhu was the one to finish Lingshan's words. He was staring at his father with eyes filled with questions, and Lingshan nodded. "Zhuo is right. I've been fighting for so many years, but not once have I seen any divine sword's power being restrained. Not even invincible swords, sundering sword art has such power. But he, just who is he?" Lingshan stared at Zhuo Fan filled with doubt. The others were also curious, trying to guess his background. At the very least, they could rule out being a tiny steward to some merchant clan. Zhu kept her promise to Shangyu and Qingyan and did not say a word, not like they needed her help, since Zhuo Fan gave himself away in broad daylight. He was in the limelight and there was no escaping it. See, Bright Sect was not about to overlook such a mysterious and dangerous element slipping into their home either. They were all looking tense, trying to pick his every tell. Zhuo Fan acted oblivious, just sitting there with a girl on his shoulder, not wanting to disturb her. "I am Lingshan of Sea Bright Sect. Who might sir be, and where do you come from? What brings you to the Sea Bright Sect?" Seeing how the strange mood had no effect on Zhuo Fan, Lingshan came over before this seemingly radiant stage cultivator. He dared not disrespect in the least. The rest looked intently at the exchange. Changqing still refused to believe what was happening. His father, the best in northern lands, was paying respects to some junior. It only went to prove how much the best in northern lands evaluated Zhuo Fan, no less than at his level. Since he got rid of the heaven-sealing sword art in one move, it meant that such power was the nemesis of the heaven-sealing sword. As its wielder, he was definitely concerned. While the cultivation was far below, the skill used put him on edge. Zhuo Fan gave him a look and knew he could no longer play innocent, having got to his usual mysterious and calculative self. He regarded the extremely respectful Northern Land senior and spoke casually. "Senior Aoyang, I am only a steward of the Cayenne clan coming to deliver goods. Let's leave it at that. Cayenne steward. Ha ha ha, does sir take me for a child? We know everything about the Cayenne clan and there's no one like you among it." Yang Lingshan shook his head. "I don't want to force her to be honest, but the situation is critical now. Your sudden presence here terrifies us all. I have no choice but to offend sir to avoid any problems. I can only ask for your forgiveness." Yang Lingshan's face was cold, giving the elders a look. The dozens of Genesis stage elders had the merchant group surrounded. The guards tensed, awaiting for Zhuo Fan's orders. Shangyun Qingyan started, clenching her fists with a frown and a pained heart. Murongzu shook her head, while the Western Lands disciples and Sea Bright sect disciples watched the events unfold. Shui Ruohua and the other girl were just confused, looking at Zhuo Fan in wonderment. How did he turn dangerous? Who is he to need to arrest him? Zhuo Fan didn't move still, looking gracefully at the peaceful girl leaning on him. He then glanced at Yang Lingshan. "Senior Yang, could you give me a moment to sit better? Sit better." What for? Yang Lingshan had no idea what trick Zhuo Fan was trying to pull. Zhuo Fan shook his head. "Senior Yang, I just want to sit and nothing else. After all the destruction the ice dragon caused, it will make for a nice sunset to enjoy with the ice covering everything." Enjoy the sunset? Yang Lingshan's brow twitched, looking around the icy and snow-covered ruins, then at Zhuo Fan with a dumb look. What's up with this guy? There's no shock, panic, fear, nor anger, just the intention to watch the scenery. Is he all right? Yang Lingshan was floored by the deep eyes behind the eagle mask. Zhuo Fan's request had him stumped. The others let Yang Lingshan take the lead and would not stop now. So all were looking dumb at Zhuo Fan, who just wanted to enjoy twilight. They had seen their fair share of people in their long lives as cultivators, against sly weasels or rash fools, but Zhuo Fan took the cake. Chu Qingcheng opened her eyes, much clearer than before, but still vacant. She then left Zhuo Fan's side. "Qingcheng is awake." Shui Ruohua lit up and spoke in gratitude. After all these years, this is the first time she had such a peaceful rest. Even with all the chaos around, it's a miracle she could sleep for so long. Shui Ruohua teared up. Zhuo Fan nodded at Chu Qingcheng and said, "Senior Aoyang, let's go. Miss Shui, I'll leave Miss Chu in your care. Did you stay like that so you won't disturb her?" Yang Lingshan saw Zhuo Fan showing no change, but then it hit him. "I get it now. Sir, after you." Yang Lingshan gestured, and a couple elders approached Zhuo Fan to detain him. Zhuo Fan didn't fight, walking away with a deep gaze as Shui Ruohua held Chu Qingcheng. "Qingcheng, after I save young Sanzi, I will come get you and will never leave your side again." "Pa." He barely made a step as Chu Qingcheng reached out and gripped Zhuo Fan's hand. Zhuo Fan started and looked on with hope. Is Qingcheng awake? What he saw was the same empty eyes, even as her soft hand held onto him, like something precious, unwilling to let go. Shui Ruohua tried to pull her, but the grip wouldn't give. Shui Ruohua was awkward, looking puzzled. What's got into Chu Qingcheng? Zhuo Fan knew that she reached for him out of instinct. No matter when or where, even with her faded mind, her memories gone, her feelings would never change. Chu Qingcheng was holding on to Zhuo Fan all because of those feelings. Zhuo Fan's heart was in pain again, speaking firmly to Yang Lingshan. "Senior Yang, could you also bring Miss wherever you're taking me?" "Sure, as long as the people from Western Lands agree." He gave Chu Qingcheng a long look and understood the situation, that it would not help Zhuo Fan's case either way. By looking at their hands so tightly held, Yang Lingshan had a guess as to what they might be. There was no reason not to indulge him this small request and nodded. He couldn't just as well turn antagonistic, not before having an idea of who Zhuo Fan was, where he came from, and the side he took. Zhuo Fan gave a smile and a nod, then turned to Shui Ruohua. She got the idea, seeing how Chu Qingcheng and him were so close, it might actually work in Chu Qingcheng's favor and help her recover faster. She gave her approval and let go of Chu Qingcheng's hands. Chu Qingcheng showed a faint smile, finally at Zhuo Fan's side and sticking to his arm like glue. Sea Bright Sect's elder escorted Zhuo Fan and the guards under careful watch, just like prisoners. Shangyun Qingyan witnessed from the side with worry for Zhuo Fan on one hand and confusion on the other. Zhuo Fan had never been thoughtful to any woman around her, to the point he'd even do all he could not to disturb her sleep. But who is she? Junior sister Shui, what is going on? Who is he and why did you let junior sister Qingcheng go with him? I don't know either, but they seem to be very close. Qingcheng felt at peace around him. I believe that letting her stay with him will help her recover. Wu Qinkyu rushed to Shui Ruohua for an answer, but she didn't know much else either. Yan Mo grumbled, how can you be so careless? He's too much of an enigma and has the Sea Bright sect watching him. By letting Chu Qingcheng go with him might end up with using her as a shield in the end. How are we going to save her then, in Sea Bright Sec's home no less? They wouldn't just cave under his conditions just because you're a Western Lands disciple. What else was I supposed to do? You saw it too, her hands were glued to him and wouldn't let go. Her mind is lost, so of course she's being hard on us. Don't you get that simple truth? Why you? Yanmo and Shui Ruohua bickered, with Wu Qinkyu frowning in thought. He then rushed over and cupped his hands at Aoyang Lingshan. Senior Aoyang, my junior sister with a frail mind has now gone with that unknown man. I only ask Senior to look after her if anything happens. I understand you don't have to say it, but there's no need to worry since he has no ill will towards your junior sister. Aoyang Lingshan cut him off with a dismissive wave. Wu Qinkyu looked lost. Senior, how are you so sure? His feelings for your junior sister are plain to see and she leans on him too. This can't be faked. Aoyang Lingshan spoke. I've been around for many years and can read a situation. Your junior sister will be in complete safety at his side, ha ha ha. Aoyang Lingshan laughed and patted his shoulder, then left them there confused. Aoyang Lingshan walked to his son and raised his hand, making Aoyang Changqing tuck his head and kneel with a sullen look. Aoyang Lingshan watched his reckless and wild son with gnashed teeth, lowering his hand in the end, resorting to chiding. Damn it, boy, have you any idea what storm you stirred today? You not only caused so much harm to your fellow disciples, sealed as they are, needing to be taken to Heaven's Sealing Pavilion to recover, you also forced me to take the Heaven's Sealing Sword from its place, weakening the barrier. What if Invincible Sword used this chance to strike? If the sect fell, it would all be on you. I need to get the sword back at once and report to sect leader about Steward Kyan. Once everything is settled, I'll come deal with you. Aoyang Lingshan flicked his sleeve and flew away, leaving Aoyang Changqing with a pained gaze and disgruntled face. Then I wish for it to never settle. As long as Dad's busy, he won't deal with me. This Aoyang Changqing, Murongzu could read him like a book, shaking her head and saying, Yanner, don't you think he hasn't matured one bit? Yanner. Shangyun Qingyan wasn't there though. Wu Qinkyu had got Aoyang Lingshan's answer and consoled his group before leaving as well. As he went, Wu Qinkyu's mind was deep in thought. Shui Ruohua suddenly found her path blocked by someone unexpected. Miss, are you? Shangyun Qingyan from Eastern Lands. She made a bow. Shui Ruohua looked puzzled. Miss Shangyun, why have you suddenly appeared like this? I want to know everything about that lady down to the smallest detail. Can you tell me? Shangyun Qingyan looked straight in Shui Ruohua's eyes. Shui Ruohua started in confusion. Why is she interested in King Cheng? Shui Ruohua gauged her restless eyes and nodded in the end. An hour later, the moon now replaced the sun in the sky as the night fell. A flash of light appeared on Beyond Heaven Island, on the highest pavilion, connecting it to the sky, making it a true abode of immortals. Aoyang Lingshan appeared here, walking towards the copper pillar, 2 meters tall by ½ meter wide, covered in signs that glowed faintly. He took a deep breath and presented the Heaven's Sealing Sword with utmost respect. I have borrowed the Divine Sword and now come to return it. I ask the 4 venerables to activate the barrier and put the Divine Sword in its rightful place. Ha ha ha, that was quick. An aged voice echoed in the pavilion, followed by the appearance of 4 elders with white beards on each side of the copper pillar. Lingshan, we have lent the sword on account of the sect being in mortal danger. Now that you have come to return it, we would like some answers. Aoyang Lingshan shook his head. The misfortune of the sect came upon by my wretched son, almost unleashing a calamity. Aoyang Lingshan sighed and gave a full account of the events. The elders turned grave. Changqing is a good seed with his amazing talent, but it got to his head and affects his mind. The stronger he is, the bigger the fall. Lingshan, he's your son and you need to set him straight. Regardless of his great future, it will only bring glory to the sect as long as he walks on the righteous path. But if he turns evil, the world will suffer. He cannot be indulged. I shall take Venerable's advice to heart. Aoyang Lingshan felt ashamed. The 4 made signs and the barrier on the pillar opened. 1 elder gestured and the Heaven's Sealing Sword in Aoyang Lingshan's hands flew above the copper pillar, hovering quietly. The elders changed their signs and the barrier was restored. The Heaven's Sealing Sword shone brightly in an icy blue glow, but with barrier in place, it did not travel far, sucked in by the copper pillar. The entire sect's barrier shook then and took on an icy blue glow, mystical and enchanting. The 4 elders nodded. Now the sect barrier is strong and peace is restored. Not even Invincible Sword can get in, ha ha ha. Yes, venerables, I shall now take my leave as I have matters to discuss with sect leader. Patriarch bowed. The 4 waved him off and he withdrew. Their eyes, however, failed to notice a delicate shadow watching on like a viper. That's why there's not a guard around Heaven's Sealing Pavilion. The strongest 4 sword guardians, Snow Peak 4 elders, watch it. The pillar's shadow wiggled and Bali Yuyu appeared in the darkness, looking at the 4 elders with a frown. The 4 combined have the power of a sword king, just as strong as Aoyang Lingshan. Getting the sword will be difficult, not to mention a long battle that will draw in more trouble. what to do. Yu Yu stared hard at the four elders from the shadows, hesitation plaguing her heart. Zhuo Fan had her take the sword tonight, but it was obvious that wouldn't go as smoothly in the best sect of northern lands, even for a sword king like herself. God damn it, what now? I'm not good when it comes to thinking. Bali Yu Yu couldn't see any way out of this. What would that punk do? Seeing him always coming up with a plan for everything, then this situation oughtn't be any different. Why can't I think of anything then? She was scrounging up all the brain power she could muster for a way out, though she still came up empty. The heaven-sealing sword was behind a barrier and was also powering it. That meant she no longer had any way of taking it by force, to say nothing of the four strong elders guarding it. It was a flawless defense that she had no way of breaching. Should I just go back and ask him? Thinking about it, Bali Yu Yu's mind wandered, but then shook the thought away. No, I agreed to take the sword tonight. Getting stuck and going to him for help will only make him laugh at me. I am the great frigid rain sword king for crying out loud, though it's clear that force won't give me any result. What do I do then? What's more, I can't see any way of passing the unbreakable defense, so what could he do? Yeah, he can't do anything either. Besides, he had me come here to scout, while taking the sword over an afternoon is too hasty. His plan's the one with issues here, having nothing to do with me. Even if I dump this problem on him, he can't solve it either. Yep, definitely no solution. So there's no indignity in going back with an unsolvable problem. Bali Yu Yu found the perfect excuse and simply gave up. She blended with the darkness and slipped away. She was going to Zhuo Fan to complain about this impossible task, although Zhuo Fan had other matters to attend to at the moment, with the Sea Bright sect setting its eyes on him. In the Sea Bright sect's hall, Aoyang Lingshan stepped lightly and was stunned by what he saw. Besides sect leader Ling Yunshan, there was also exalted Hai Ran and Sun Sea sect's Bu Xingyan. Aoyang Lingshan soon came to a realization and bowed. Sect leader, I assume you know. Of course. Ling Yunshan pointed at the two. Exalted Hai Ran and sect leader Bu had explained everything. I knew there was something special about Steward Kyan, but even I didn't think he'd be so extraordinary. I'm stunned to hear that he destroyed a spirit formed by the worldly power in one blow. You know as well as I that only with the help of a divine sword can we hope to fight back when the power of the world converges. Bu Xingyan rolled his eyes. Sect leader Ling, why are you still praising him? He's a spy, central areas. My sect has already found him out. This only proves it. That's too soon to tell. Exalted Hai Ran waved. His skills are baffling and equally strong, but there's little evidence to support he came to see Bright Sect for nefarious reasons. Wild speculation will only harm the innocent. Harm an innocent? What kind of good can a man of unknown background bring in coming to see Bright Sect? If not a central area spy, what here to wish long life at sect leader Ling's birthday? So what if he is innocent? In these times of crisis, desperate measures are a must, like culling all unknown elements. Absolutely not. It will only bring more problems if we just kill without finding out who he is. Exalted Hai Ran refuted that proposal, frowning at the dreaded outcome. Bu Xingyan mocked, are you talking about the buzzing news about Devil Mountain's calamity? Humph, Exalted Hai Ran must now be paranoid. First of all, no one has ever seen Devil Mountain, and it can just as well be fake. Secondly, even if it's real, you think its disciples are all over the place. You think you're just going to bump into one at every step. The chances this time are high. Exalted Hai Ran winced. His strength is beyond comprehension. How many youths in the lands can match him? Who else but Devil Mountain could bring about such a disciple? If he does come from there, all the more reason we cannot mess with him. Devil Mountain must have sapped all your nerves. If Devil Mountain's disciple is against northern lands, are we just going to watch with a smile? Devil Mountain never involves itself with secular matters. As long as we don't touch them, they won't bother us either. What if they touch us? No, this has never happened before. All right, Ling Yunshan stepped in their quarrel, shouting, this is the Sea Bright sect. We decide how we handle suspects here. It's not your problem to consider. The two huffed in anger. Ling Yunshan sighed and said, Lingshan, how did you deal with him? I dared not do anything without sect leader's approval. From what I've learned of his actions, he is not just anyone and would not make things harder. For now, the elders have sealed their yuan qi and placed it behind a barrier, awaiting sect leader's orders. And what about the matter of the sealed soaring sword? Ling Yunshan asked. Aoyang Lingshan shook his head. The sealing and breaking ways from the heaven sealing sword we know of should be supreme, but it seems this seal on soaring sword is so strange that neither method or any other work. It makes us wonder who the culprit could be to know of such incredible sealing. We will need time to research it before we can break it. Shangyun Feixing is one stubborn fool, insisting on releasing the seal all by himself, even after half a year of fruitless results. If it hadn't been for us two old men stumbling upon this 3 days ago, we might have never known, ha ha ha. Exalted Hai Ran sighed. Yang Lingshan nodded. Hi Ran, you have the cheek to say that, you'd never tell us either. It'd still be in the dark if it weren't for Murong Lai calling me to help. The old coot had us keep our lips sealed so he wouldn't look bad. You two geezers have no sense of priorities to actually agree with him. Yang Lingshan rolled his eyes. Ling Yunshan turned grave. The unsealing of the soaring sword takes the highest priority as of now. Once the seal is lifted and all leaders of every land gathered, we can then investigate Steward Kayan and discuss how to address the issue. They all agreed, with only Bu Xingyan grumbling, just kill him and be done with it. Also, Ling Yunshan glared at him. Sect leader Bu, you're in Sea Bright sect. Could you please respect our rules? Keep your eyes to yourself. Bu Xingyan winced. Sect leader Ling, what's that supposed to mean? Ha ha ha, sect leader Bu is sure to know. In the Sea Bright sect, I know everything that's happening. You had your disciple monitor Kayan Fan's group. How else would you have known so fast and be the first to report to me on this matter? I am only doing it for the safety of Sea Bright sect. Sect leader Ling, please don't misunderstand. Bu Xingyan gave a forced smile. Ling Yunshan patted his shoulder with a smile. If sect leader Bu wants me not to misunderstand, then please take actions that aren't subjected to suspicion. Try not to overstep again. Bu Xingyan gave him a long look and shook as he nodded. This guy ain't as kind on the inside as on the outside. In a rather spacious cell, Zhuo Fan's team sat calmly with their cultivation sealed. The walls were unbreakable, and even many spatial barriers in place to prevent any from getting out. Kaior was the only one overlooked, the Sea Bright sect elders buying into her actually genuine childish act. How tough could a child be? Zhuo Fan looked calm, ignoring the dark mood in the cell, holding on to the pretty girl's hand. Sir, what do we do now? It's completely opposite from our plan, one guard asked. Zhuo Fan shook his head. If the plan can't keep up with reality, it can only adapt to include the changes. At worst, we'll be waiting a few days in here before we get to work. They're not letting us out of their sights. Is Sir that sure? Why else would I be so calm? Now stop talking. Zhuo Fan glared at him and sighed as he turned to the numb Chu Qingcheng. I'm happy that this at least lets us be together. With how dangerous the trip to the North Sea is, even one moment more is enough. Clapping resounded in the empty place, followed by laughter. Ha ha ha, I was right. Brother Zhu, it's really you. You're still alive and finally came back. With a shaky brow behind the eagle mask, Zhuo Fan looked beyond the bars on reflex. The jail door opened with a creak, and the unchanged figure of Wu Qingqiu stepped in before him. With a pleased smile, he looked in excitement as he got closer and closer to Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan shook his head with a chuckle. What gave it away? Of everyone on this heaven's green earth, only Brother Zhu would ever feel so much love for junior sister Qingcheng. This goes both ways as well, with junior sister Qingcheng only ever trusting Brother Zhu from the bottom of her heart. Wu Qingqiu's eyes shone and sighed. I had a hard time believing that a good friend who has been gone for so many years would appear before me. It was thanks to Senior Aoyang's words that had me jump to such a wild conclusion. He said you would never harm junior sister out of love, and he was right. That leaves only you who has such undying love for her. Thus the only solution, however impossible and no matter how unlikely the person, is the most probable, for which I have come to see if you're real. Zhuo Fan shook his head. He traced the eagle mask and slowly lowered it. Brother Wu is wise beyond his years. You found me out. Without me or Yilin back then, Western lands would have had you as its best disciple. Brother Wu is without equal. I knew it. Why you're really here? Ignoring his words, Wu Qingqiu took in his calm smile and sharp eyes as emotions overwhelmed him. He needed a good minute to get his heart to calm down. It was truly a shot in the darkest of abysses, yet it ended up being real. Where have you been all these years, even leaving your wife behind? Zhuo Fan looked back and said nothing. Wu Qingqiu glanced at the ever-soothed yet vacant Chu Qingcheng on his arm with a crestfallen look. A man always wants to leave his mark. Whatever business you had that needed finishing, no one could have stopped you. Junior sister Qingcheng is very reasonable and would have let you go. The least you could have done was to come back safely and not do this to junior sister. Her hair not only turned white, but she also closed her mind to everyone. As for you, I see you've recovered from your pain, by the looks of your fine black hair, doing quite well for yourself. I barely recognized you. Wu Qingqiu's tone held some blame and anger at how Zhuo Fan treated Chu Qingcheng, who he saw as a good sister. Zhuo Fan had no retort, taking in all of his rebuke. You have been someone we admire the most, especially by Yan Mo and of course by little junior brother. Wu Qingqiu glared at him. You've excelled in mind and in strength, earning our full respect. When we heard that you had been killed, many of us wanted revenge. We had taken upon ourselves to take care of the widow you left behind. Even that rampant Yan Mo is thoughtful towards junior sister Qingcheng, all because everyone in our generation sees you as the true best in Western lands. And what did you do? Faked your death and vanished for 5 years. You have let down junior sister King Cheng, who has always been hoping for your return, and you have let down your brothers who looked up to you. Wu Qinkyu's tone only grew angrier. Zhuo Fan took a deep breath, feeling shame. Be it 4 or 5 years, it's still a long time. I believed that I could take on everything myself. King Cheng would have been in pain, but then followed by relief, as in a decade or two, her wound would begin to heal, and in 50 years she would have moved on. A century later, she wouldn't even remember me. The deepest love would be buried in the sands of time, right? But Zhuo Fan felt his heart bleed every time he looked into those dull eyes of his wife. Junior sister King Cheng didn't even wait. The moment you were proclaimed dead, her heart died with you. Wu Qinkyu was grave. I just want to know, why didn't you come back if you were safe? No matter how much you changed, she still could tell it was you even back at the stage. Maybe if you stay with her, you could open her heart again. In the matters of the heart, only the cause can heal it. No pill in this world can heal her, for you are her cure. Zhuo Fan shook his head in desolation. I cannot see her because I hope she will learn to forget me. Why? It's for her own good. I don't want to hurt her. Zhuo Fan squeezed her hand. If I die tomorrow, am I supposed to let her die with me? Wu Qinkyu started. What's that supposed to mean? My life isn't my own and can be reaped at a whim. I just don't want to burden her. Zhuo Fan gave a long sigh. Wu Qinkyu was stunned. I may not know what trouble you're in, but I can see your point. Are you saying that all you've done was for her to live? Zhuo Fan nodded, his eyes glazing from being weary. Sorry, I forgot myself there. I should have known you'd never be so cruel to junior sister King Cheng. Wu Qinkyu relented and bowed after some thought. Zhuo Fan waved his hand. It's fine. Telling me off actually made me feel a bit better. I am rather very grateful to you and all who took the time to look after King Cheng these years. Wu Qinkyu shook his head. It's what a fellow brother does, all natural. What natural? You don't understand women at all. A nagging voice came out from behind, if I may say so, and the eldest senior brother of Double Dragon Manor. You should be tearing into this cruel man for dumping his wife. The two looked back to see, with a start, that it was Shangyuan Qingyan, with red eyes from crying and looking at them with indignation. Zhuo Fan was puzzled. What are you doing here? What do you think the jail of Sea Bright Sect is? This isn't a playground. Yeah, I told seniors outside not to let anyone disturb us. Why can you? Wu Qinkyu looked baffled at her. Bang Shangyun Qingyan stomped on her way over, cursing in the meantime. I know you're Double Dragon Manor's eldest senior brother Wu Qinkyu, and that those seniors let you in because of your importance in Double Dragon Manor, but you're just a disciple. I, however, am the young miss of the Shangyuan clan, the apple of my father's eye. So who do you think those oldies will favor more? Wu Qinkyu was lost for words. True, Double Dragon Manor is leading Western lands, but I'm just a disciple within its grounds. No matter how much favor I have, it'll last for a few decades tops. When the next batch of new guys come, I'll soon be forgotten. While the Shangyuan clan of Eastern lands would always hold their young miss in the highest regard regardless, their statuses were just worlds apart. Those oldies would of course not step on Eastern lands' young miss toes the most. Wu Qinkyu rolled his eyes and grumbled. Sea Bright Sect's elders sure are tough. He failed to notice that they wouldn't let a Western land's disciple see their greatest suspect unless they were tough. It was all due to not wanting to piss off Double Dragon Manor that was behind him that they let him through, as pissing off Double Dragon Manor meant pissing off all of Western lands. They couldn't take the blame. The same went for Shangyuan Qingyan. So this young missy stormed into the jail and right in Zhuo Fan's face as she glared. Young Miss Shangyuan, did I do something to anger you? Zhuo Fan looked confused. Shangyuan Qingyan's lip trembled and nodded. Yeah, you did, because you have no clue what women think. Come again? Zhuo Fan paused, turning to Wu Qinkyu for answers, but he was just as clueless, offering an unhelpful shrug. Zhuo Fan, I know all about you and your wife, every single detail. Shangyuan Qingyan's eyes flared with anger. You've gone through so much together, so why are you such a blockhead? Don't you see what she wants? Zhuo Fan winced, turning grave. Fan's clueless face, Shangyuan Qingyan sighed and her features softened. You said in the central area that you abandoned your wife because she would die with you, right? But what if that was what she wanted? Well, I didn't. Zhuo Fan spoke heavily. I just couldn't have her enter hell because of me. It's like pushing her into the abyss. I'm no saint, but this is something I could never do. Yet your wife was more than happy to join you in hell. No, unacceptable. Zhuo Fan shook his head. She wants to be with me, so of course I want to as well. But being selfish for a brief period would get her killed, something I don't want to see. That's why it's better if she forgets me. Zhuo Fan caressed Chu King Cheng's white hair, hurt just by seeing her so unresponsive. But not like this. I only hoped she would forget me alone. She forgot everyone, even herself, all but you, right? Shangyuan Qingyan glanced at the dull gaze of Chu King Cheng and teared up again. Zhuo Fan shook and closed his eyes. recalling how Chu Qingcheng shunned any at the fight earlier while only showing fondness to him, a stranger in an eagle mask. He hurt even more. Shangyun Qingyan lowered her head and sighed. I don't want eternity, only a moment. Zhuo Fan, these were Chu Qingcheng's last words. Do you know what they mean? What? I've pressed senior sister Ruohua for every detail, and she said Miss Chu had always been muttering this right before she lost herself. Shangyun Qingyan sighed. Sir Zhu is a man of lofty ambitions and achievements. Be it as Zhuo Fan or Gu Yifan, any place that he's found in is bound to be overturned and danger to follow. Miss Chu was ready. Since she chose you, she was willing to accept everything. She didn't mind not spending eternity together as long as she was there next to you. This was her deepest wish. But you had been so selfish and decided by yourself to cut it off. You said it's all for her so she could be safe and away from you, but did you ever stop to think what she wanted? You gave her all you could, but robbed her of all she wanted. She is living well, but she might as well be dead. Sir Zhu, is this your love for her? Such selfishness. Zhu Fan's eyes shook, his body trembled, filled with regret as he looked at Chu Qingcheng's dull features. I was truly wrong. True demonic cultivators can break away from the hypocrisies and deceits, but they can't fight love, ha ha ha. Zhu Fan's eyes were filled with sorrow. A demon should never have felt attachment. Attachment cuts off the demonic path and traps you. I could scheme over anything in the world, but always become powerless in the face of love. I wanted what's best for my wife, but ended up hurting her the most. If this was a backlash, then Zhu Fan admitted he failed in this aspect. Not only was his wife hurt, but he was crushed in this battle as well. Zhu Fan stood with a blank stare, with Shangyun Qingyan and Wu Qingqiu feeling his pain. The greatest pain in the world was having the opposite outcome of what you intended. What he thought would get him the best of both worlds ended up with him losing everything. Pa, a sudden hand gently landed on Zhu Fan's confused face. Zhu Fan looked startled at Chu Qingcheng, running her hand through his hair in an effort to console him. Alas, those same empty eyes stared back into his soul. Wu Qingqiu lit up. Brother Zhu, don't lose heart. Ever since you came, junior sister Qingcheng has shown great improvement. I believe that as long as Brother Zhu stays, junior sister Qingcheng is sure to get better. Yes, now that I'm here, I will help her get well and never leave again. Touching the gentle hand on his hair, Zhu Fan stood and looked in Chu Qingcheng's eyes as he spoke. Even in death, I will always hold your hand. I won't let you walk the earth alone ever again. Shangyun Qingyan and Wu Qingqiu nodded with a smile, though the former felt her own heartache. She was happy that Zhu Fan reunited with his dear wife, but it was also the cause of her pain. In the end, she rooted for the pair to have a happy reunion and be together. As for herself, she felt great even only being young Sanzi's aunt. Shangyun Qingyan smiled, brighter than ever before. Wu Qingqiu looked dumbstruck as he smiled back. Chu Qingcheng began to show signs of a smile too, a flicker of life coming and going in her empty eyes. Bam! The jail door was slammed open, making them jump. A bloody corpse missing an arm and leg flew in. The feisty woman showing up waltzed inside and shouted at Zhu Fan, "Brat, you all right? I came to get you out." "Who are you?" "There are 30 Genesis stage experts outside." "How did you get in here?" Wu Qingqiu gasped. The woman smirked. "What can 30 puny Genesis old farts do anyway? They should be proud they could hold me for even a second." "But what's with this jail's design, putting 2 Soul Harmony stage brats as guards at the end? I say, they're more and more rotten, ha ha ha." She flashed before the two with bloodthirst, ready to end them. Wu Qingqiu's eyes widened in panic. With how strong she looked, she of course had no trouble dealing with the Genesis elders outside, and silently too. She is deadly. She could kill them as easily as squashing ants, and they couldn't even make a peep while at it. Wu Qingqiu grew grave and pale, sighing. Just what was wrong with today, always putting them in imminent danger. "Stop, Yu." It was then a shout came. The bloodthirst-fueled finger halted, and she looked from them to Zhu Fan. What's the point in letting them live? Bali Yu failed to get the sword from the Heaven Ceiling Pavilion and came back to discuss it with Zhu Fan. There she found their team locked up. So while her head didn't always work straight, her fist was more than enough to compensate. She made the bright decision to break Zhu Fan out and ask his big brain for a plan. Having him stuck behind bars left her with no clue what to do next. They're friends coming for a visit, not guards. Don't hurt them. Zhu Fan waved. Whether accustomed or not, she actually listened with a shrug and patted the two. "Oh, on the same side, ha ha ha. Sorry about that, don't mind it." It's fine, just don't mind it at all, ha ha ha." Wu Qingqiu looked tense, giving Zhu Fan a puzzled look. What the hell has he been up to these years? Where did she find this powerhouse? Is she from Devil Mountain too? Oh, Devil Mountain. With all the memories being refreshed, he forgot to ask if Devil Mountain was real or just a thorough lie. But then glancing at Bali Yu, Wu Qingqiu flinched and kept his doubts to himself. Better leave it for later. Shangyun Qingyan was so terrified she couldn't even make a peep. Bali Yu ignored the harmless brats and mocked, "Hey, Steward Kyan, what's going on? I've been out with work for a bit and you got yourself imprisoned. You even had me come break you out. Steward Kyan, has your shrewd mind finally come up empty for once? He. How stuck up you are. Zhuo Fan turned to the others with a smile. See this face, allow me to teach you a life lesson. The next time you see someone like this, you're to step on it and beat it without remorse. For the moment one gets cocky over nothing, you'll come to regret having not hit it when you could. Bali Yuyu giggled, but then her face sank. Yuyu gnashed her teeth and spat. Rotten punk, you let your mouth run off and ended up in jail. Now I come to save you out of the kindness of my heart, but instead of thanks you're mocking me. What would you have done if I hadn't come along? Who asked you anyway? Zhuo Fan scoffed with a raised eyebrow, holding on to Chu Qingcheng's hand. I was even hoping to stay here for a couple of days. Miss Yuyu is free to leave. I'm stuck here behind the barriers and can't go. Bye. Hey, Bali Yuyu's face twitched, annoyed with him to the extreme. She came to the rescue, but the more she looked, she noticed they were unlike any prisoners she saw. They were more like guests. Is this your home? Are you free to come and go as you please? I even had to go through the guards. Burning with anger, Bali Yuyu stopped her cursing when she noticed Zhuo Fan holding hands with Chu Qingcheng. Her anger evaporated, replaced by confusion. Kyan Fan, who is she? My wife. Your wife? Bali Yuyu flinched, feeling her heart skip a beat but also souring. But as a sword king, and particularly a warmonger, she wasn't about to let softness show on her features. She took a deep breath to calm herself. Why haven't I heard about this or seen her? Zhuo Fan rolled his eyes. Who are you to me for me to tell you everything? Humph, it's my fortune to be reunited with my wife. I shall treasure these days, imprisoned alongside her. Be sure to look after junior sister Qingcheng, Zhuo Fan. You owe her too much after so many years. Wu Qinkyu said with a smile, forgetting there was a witch not up to 2 feet away, an expert that removed dozens of Genesis stage experts without a sound. Bali Yuyu looked confused and stared at Zhuo Fan. Then I'll break you out of here. We'll talk once we're safe. No, my wife's mind had suffered a shock and fighting will affect her. Staying here is much better. Just knock her out and we'll be off. What did you say? Zhuo Fan glared. Bali Yuyu, listen here. She's my wife. Touch her and you'll be sorry. Bali Yuyu was taken aback, having never seen Zhuo Fan be so determined. She knew the girl was very important to him and sighed with a lowered head. One guard mediated. Sir, Miss Yuyu is only thinking of your own good. There's no need to turn cruel over a simple refusal. Ha ha ha. This isn't about keeping calm. I won't let anyone touch her. Zhuo Fan held Chu Qingcheng as he spoke with resolve. Bali Yuyu's face fell and gnashed her teeth. Shangyun Qingyan shook her head, feeling sad. Zhuo Fan is more careful with Chu Qingcheng than with any other girl. Senior sister Ruohua was right. Zhuo Fan and Chu Qingcheng were protective of each other, with no one able to separate them. Wu Qinkyu's face twitched and asked his most pressing question. Zhuo Fan, you just called this Miss Bali Yuyu. What a coincidence for her to have the same name as the Central Area's Frigid Rain Sword King. Ha ha ha. That's me, it's not a coincidence. Zhuo Fan stayed silent, but Wu Qinkyu and Shangyun Qingyan were frozen stiff. Frigid Rain Sword King is in Sea Bright sect and listening to this devious guy, but for what? Bali Yuyu ignored their shock and the fact she was found out. Since you don't want to leave, what are you planning? Didn't you aim for the North Sea? How are you going to reach it if you're stuck here? I'll leave when the moment is right. Thanks for caring. But for now, I want to be with my wife. You can go now. Go. If I go, who'll save you? Bali Yuyu roared. You think just anyone can burst into Sea Bright sect's jail? If I go, you'll either die or be stuck here till you die. It's none of your concern. No one can stop me from leaving when I want, nor take me away if I don't want to. Zhuo Fan glared at her, his voice irreproachable. Frigid Rain Sword King, we're all behind bars, so you don't have to stay as well and can go back to report to Invincible Sword. This is all I amount to, getting trapped by the Sea Bright sect. Devil Mountain disciple is nothing much, not when Devil Mountain doesn't exist. You can go and tell him that. Your mission is over. Bali Yuyu bit her lip, not wanting to go, her eyes glaring back. You really don't need my help. No, now go, Zhuo Fan sighed. With my wife by my side, I don't need another woman causing misunderstandings. As someone under me, tonight is your last task. The plan is a success and we can go our separate ways. As you are with Bailey Yushin, you can wait for my end, then report it back to him. There's no need for you to be here anymore. Bali Yuyu shook, with her and Shangyun Qingyan feeling stabbed in the heart, having him say there was no place for any girl around him other than his wife cut them deep. Bali Yuyu didn't go anywhere, speaking coldly. You think I want to stay around you? I've had enough ages ago, but with the Sea Bright sex barrier so strong, I can't pass it. You didn't get the Heaven Sealing Sword. You think it's that easy? Bali Yuyu rolled her eyes. The Heaven Sealing Sword is behind an unbreakable barrier in the Heaven Sealing Pavilion. There are also the 4 Snow Peak Elders, the strongest defenders in northern lands, watching over it. Their combined attacks would be hard to face even for Aoyang Lingshan. How then am I supposed to do it? Could you steal it then? No, obviously, but you can. Zhuo Fan's eyes shone. Bali Yuyu paused. Are you deaf? I can't beat those four and can't even break the barrier. I can't because I don't have the strength to face Sword King level experts. But you have it and can do it for me, Zhuo Fan said. Ever heard of diversion tactics? Bali Yuyu pondered and exclaimed, you want to draw them out, but they've been alive for thousands of years. You think such a simple trick will work and I still can't deal with the barrier. Going after them is bound to fail, which is why we'll use a complex plan. Zhuo Fan's eyes shone. Because they're wise old men, they have many things and thus many leverages. Ever heard of rumors becoming real? Frigid Rain's Sword King looked stumped. He gestured to her to get closer and Zhuo Fan whispered dark secrets to her through the bars. Bali Yuyu gave him a look of confusion at the end. Will it actually work? With the old coots so obsessed with their stuff, they're easy to dupe, even the wisest elders. Zhuo Fan's eyes sparkled. Bali Yuyu nodded and left. I'll give it a shot, but if it doesn't work, I'll take it out on you. Don't go failing on purpose just to find me. This trick only works once. Don't waste my effort and brain cells. If it works, I wouldn't be caught dead coming back here. Bali Yuyu huffed and her footsteps sounded distant now. With the witch leaving, Wu Qinkyu gasped, Zhuo Fan, are you siding with the Central Area Sword Star Empire? Yeah, I thought you said you're not here to make trouble for northern lands, Shangyun Qingyan said hurriedly. Zhuo Fan said, I'm not here for northern lands affairs, nor am I on the Central Area's side. I'm doing it for myself. You can now go report, but don't mess with the plan. You heard it right. I want to go to the North Sea, and the Sea Bright sect would never lower the barrier for me. I can only borrow Bali Yuyu to weaken the barrier and make it easier for me to leave. This way it saves me a dragon breath pill, which is great, ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan had a wide smile plastered on his face, making the two confused. Outside the jail, Bali Yuyu looked furious around the corpses. She took a deep breath, about to throw away a token, but something held her back. It was the same token Zhuo Fan had the Cayenne clan prepare for her. Cayenne Fan's wife, Cayenne Yu, escorting goods. She heard voices nearby and Bali Yuyu gripped the token. She sniffed as her eyes teared over. She put the token away and flew for the Heaven's Ceiling Pavilion. The stars shone bright on this quiet night. The four elders in the Heaven's Ceiling Pavilion sat on each side of the copper pillar with closed eyes. Heaven's Ceiling sword was still shining blue, radiating power taken by the barrier. Boom. A sudden explosion tore the tranquility, with a huge fire breaking out 5 kilometers from beyond Heaven Island. The flames reached high in the sky, with the clouds reflecting a deep red. The four elders flinched awake, looking at the fire in the distance, and heard the resulting ruckus. The sect members were running around to deal with it. What's going on? What could have made that noise inside the sect? One elder stroked his beard. Another elder shook his head and closed his eyes. Doesn't matter. At worst, sect leader and Lingshan will deal with it. We just need to do our job and guard this place. Nothing else matters than doing our part. The others regained calm after a pause, just sitting there in silence. Report. Yet 15 minutes later, a panicked shout reached the pavilion. A Seabright sect disciple flew before the four and started lamenting. Venerables, this is bad. Invincible sword and 5 sword kings have broken in. Seabright sect Ling has fallen and senior uncle Yang Lingshan is barely holding on. You have to help him, Venerables. What? The calm elders snapped their eyes open and stared at him in disbelief. Are you sure? How when our barrier is unbreakable? Invincible sword would have no reason to be here either way. Why would they make such a sudden attack? For what purpose? The guy didn't say anything, just looking frightened, being scared out of his mind and unable to calm down. Hey, which elder's disciple are you? Why aren't you answering? One venerable squinted and shouted in suspicion. Did you see Invincible Sword and his team? Did you see the sect leader die? The guy barely squeezed a word through the terror. Why yes, the 4 elders grumbled. What's with him acting so weird? His earlier report was clear, so why was he now stuttering so much? Venerables, get the Heaven's Ceiling sword quickly. Another shout came to the pavilion before they could make some sense of it all. A second disciple rushed in, looking miserable. He slumped at their feet and urged, Senior Uncle Lingshan is hurt badly. Double Dragon Manor and Shangyuan clan have suffered severe casualties and can't hold on. Senior Uncle requests that Venerables go and help with the Divine Sword. He then spurted blood and fell unconscious from his heavy wounds. The 4 were alarmed. Is the battle outside that fierce? They've taken out the main resistance. Is the enemy that strong? The 4 looked shocked, but recalling Invincible Sword, they were instantly sure. With that old monster leading the charge and with the help of a divine sword, it'll be hard to stop him. 3 elders turned to the eldest brother. The elder frowned, his heart in chaos. He figured the best thing to do now was to understand what was happening. But it all happened so fast that there was no time, with the situation out of control and unable to make sense of it all. What am I supposed to do? Venerable, save us, a wail came from outside. The four elders' hearts thumped with worry. This time it was a female disciple bursting in, covered in wounds and her eyes filled with blood. She wept. Venerable's senior uncle Aoyang. The four elders shook, hurriedly asking, what happened to Lingshan? Senior uncle was killed by invincible sword. The girl twitched one more time and cried as she fell unconscious as well. The four elders no longer looked at her, each shocked to the core. Aoyang Lingshan, the strongest in northern lands and the only one to use the heaven-sealing sword to its full power, had just died at Invincible Sword's hands. The future of Sea Bright sect was now ruined, all those thousands of years of glorious history brought to an abrupt end. The four panicked and their hearts sank. The noise outside only grew louder. One elder jolted back to his senses and said, "Eldest brother, we need to help the sect. We can't sit around while our disciples are being wiped out. There is no sect without them." "Yes, but there's rules regarding the sword." The High Venerable no longer sat around thinking, turning to the heaven-sealing sword with hesitation. "The sword can never leave the pavilion, only in special circumstances." "If we take the sword then," the other three elders cried out, "Eldest brother, we don't have time to mind the rules. Without the heaven-sealing sword, we can't stop Invincible Sword's sundering sword. Are you trying to let him kill more of us? This is an emergency and we don't have time to worry about that now. Are you afraid of losing the heaven-sealing sword?" High Venerable looked at them and then he nodded. "Yes, it's an emergency. Stopping the old monster comes first. This entire situation feels strange, but we need to act fast." With the four of them working together and wielding the heaven-sealing sword, nothing could stop them. High Venerable's eyes shone with conviction. "Release the barrier and take the sword." The other three nodded and made signs. Ripples began to spread from the barrier around the sword. The barrier then opened and allowed for the cold aura of the heaven-sealing sword to spread outside. It then began to hum, shaking and hovering above the copper pillar. High Venerable reached out for it. Whoosh, the sword turned into a cold glow and flew towards him. Whoosh, silver sword energy waves came from nowhere just then, shooting for the elders. The dreaded aura they carried made them shiver and feel death breathing down their necks. The four jumped away to dodge. Bam! While they got out of the way, the heaven-sealing sword could not. With a clang, the sacred weapon got sent hurtling through the air. It was no longer able to tell where High Venerable was and just spun in place. It was then a woman flashed before the four and grabbed heaven-sealing sword. She landed 100 meters from them and spared them a cold gaze. She was none other than the female disciple coming to report. Only she now released a deadly aura that made even the four elders shiver. Who are you? Give heaven-sealing sword back." The four elders shouted at once, clenching their fists. She, however, made the wise choice to ignore them, looking at the divine sword with a flat look, devoid of any joy she might have hoped. "Those geezers have been around for thousands of years, and a simple diversion won't work. Even if they do fall for it, you won't be getting the heaven-sealing sword from behind the barrier. The best tactic is to use a lure so they would take it out themselves. As for what could possibly drive them to shirk their duty and rely on the sword, easy when the sect is in grave peril. The geezers would die for the sect. It is everything to them, while also their only achievement and weakness. You just have to bait them and all will fall into place. As for how to do it, the three-person confirmation method. I know these weasels are shrewd and hard to dupe, but as more people say the same thing, they have to believe it. No matter how suspicious, human nature is the same. We don't even need to believe it fully either, just enough to consider the loud ruckus as grave danger. Just to be safe, they would then take the sword out. With how no lie is perfect, you will have to act fast. In the heat of the moment, those geezers are too distraught to pay attention to everything. Adding to that, the unhealthy confidence experts tend to have, ha ha ha, once you take the sword, take care of yourself, Frigid Rain's Sword King. As she stared at the silent heaven-sealing sword in her hand, she replayed Zhuo Fan's words in her mind. Bali Yuyu's lip quivered, then glared at the four with fury. "What the hell is wrong with you old coots? Are you that stupid to fall for his dumb trick? Have your brains turned to mush?" The four elders looked at each other with dumb looks. What's she on about? She took out the divine sword and now blames us for being duped. It sounds more like she didn't want to do it but was forced. What kind of skewed logic is that? Are there people in this world that are forced to rob themselves? Or is this broad just mocking us? Curses, this is mortifying. It's not enough you stole our sword, now you had to insult our intelligence too. Girl, who are you? How dare you steal our divine sword? Give it back now and we'll spare you. The elders roared. Bali Yuyu mocked their kind offer. Decrepit old fools, save your flimsy speech for your Sea Bright sect disciples. You have no chance of scaring the likes of Bali Yuyu. The Frigid Rain Sword King Bali Yuyu. The four elders gasped, "What are you doing here? How did you get into our sect?" Bali Yu grinned, like getting in here was difficult. I just had to stroll right in, humph. Now I can leave and none of you can stop me. Take care. Bali Yu was about to leave, but the heaven-sealing sword in her hand had different plans, shaking and trying to fly away from her. It was the divine sword's defiance, shunning any who didn't train in its arts. Bali Yu was a sword king and a cultivator of the sundering sword art. With the 5 great divine swords sharing common aspects, she poured her thunder sword energy into it to calm it down. Having humans for its wielders was also an important aspect, since it held no malice towards them. If it were a sacred beast instead, the divine sword would go berserk in trying to tear the beast to pieces. Once the divine sword settled, Bali Yu made a sign and placed it in her ring. Bali Yu, give it back or you're going to die here. Heaven's sealing sword was now in the enemy's bag, making the 4 Snow Peak elders shout at her and attack. Cold sword waves came at Bali Yu from all around her. She gave a smirk of disdain and flared her aura. Her hands flickered and thunder cracked the air, deflecting the sword waves. Boom, a chain of devastating explosions resounded as the heaven-sealing pavilion blew up, with the horizon taking on a glowing silvery hue. When dust settled and all noise died, the 4 Snow Peak elders found no sign of Frigid Rain's Sword King. She was gone before they knew it. The 4 elders were a match for even Aoyang Lingshan, making it impossible for her to beat them. The same, however, applied for them. With both sides holding equal power, getting the sword from them was impossible as it was for the 4 to stop her. So while they were flinging threats, they knew the minute the Bali Yu got to the heaven-sealing sword, they had no chance of getting it back. That attack they did was only out of duty. The 4 watched the empty night sky filled with regret. In another area, people had the burning place surrounded, with Aoyang Lingshan, Ling Yunshan, and Exalted Double Dragon among them. Bright sect's disciples and elders watched from the side, making sure nothing escaped their notice, despite finding nothing. Sect leader Ling, what is this place? Murong Lai frowned, looking at the blazing fire. They had to be very strong to have ruined this place so quickly, at the level of the best in the land. But what's so important here that would make them cause such destruction? The others turned to Ling Yunshan. Ling Yunshan sighed, this is the alchemy house of the Bright sect, where many pills are refined. Are they aiming to cripple our pill supply? That has to be it. Central Area's spies must have slipped in and started causing havoc. Bu Xingyun nodded and cupped his hands. Sect leader Ling, please double the search parties and find them as soon as possible. There seems to be more of them besides that Cayenne caravan. We need to hold Cayenne Fan for questioning. The other mulled a bit and agreed. Ling Yunshan fell silent, still in thought. Aoyang Lingshan smiled. Sect leader, it's like you don't see it as a spy attack. Just like you said, only a real expert could have done this, someone of your level. That means it could only be a sword king. Ling Yunshan's eyes shone. But don't you think taking out just the alchemy house is too little for the 9 sword kings hiding among us? If word got out they were out pilfering would only bring them shame. The others nodded, yes, why would experts like the 9 sword kings lower themselves to something like this? Maybe it's not a sword king but another expert. Murongzu thought of something. All eyes turned to her. Someone else besides the 9 sword kings, the other lands experts. Aside from the traders of Western lands and Eastern lands, that only left Murong Lai of Southern lands and Aoyang Lingshan of Northern lands capable of this. Are you suspecting your own brother, or are you saying Aoyang Lingshan would do this to his own home? Murong Lai was the only one who understood, having fought with Bali Yu yet having not known who she was. Zuer, you mean that woman? Murongzu nodded, but her eyes shone with cold bloodthirst. Rumble thunder claps echoed from the heaven-sealing pavilion, shaking the skies. The heaven-sealing sword, Aoyang Lingshan cried out and rushed towards it. The others soon followed in realization. Murong Zai grabbed her brother and said, brother, you go on ahead, there's something I must do. What? Murong Lai was confused. What could be more important than an attack on the Bright sect? You don't have to worry, I'll just check something in return. Just be careful, there's a strong expert hiding in the Bright sect and it's no longer safe. Murong Lai saw her unshrinking will and relented, going on alone. Murongzu gnashed her teeth and muttered, damn you bastard. The merchant caravan was missing a girl, it has to be her. That guy can't sit still even in jail, causing such a disaster without any shred of remorse. This time he must die. Before Bright sect suffers any more destruction and he kills more innocents. Boom, a third loud boom rang that night. The sky began to quicker and broke away, letting the stars shine brighter upon the world without any impediment. The men going for heaven's sealing pavilion flinched and stopped to look in shock. The strongest barrier in the lands was now broken. Wu, what do you think of my skill? Chu Qingcheng sat in the gloomy jail, with Zhuo Fan standing behind her, softly running the comb through her long, silky locks full of care and gentleness. It has only been 1 day since King Cheng and I got married, and I had been forced to go to Double Dragon Manor, never getting the chance to comb her hair. It might be silly, but it was a wish of mine. You two can tell me if I'm doing it wrong. Wu Kinkyu's face twitched. Zhuo Fan, you're way too casual. Frigid Rain's sword king listened to you and went to steal Heaven's sealing sword. She might fail and be chased here. You'd be involved in the central area's matters from which you can't come out alive. And if she succeeds, the Sea Bright sect would have no way of dealing with her and will take their hatred on you, leading to death once more. I just can't figure out how you can be so indifferent about it. It's like it isn't your problem. Yeah, that Frigid Rain's sword king wanted to break you out of here. You could have accepted and all would be over. Why would you stay here to die? Shangyun Qingyan grew downcast. Zhuo Fan only had attention for combing his wife's hair, smiling. It's a bit messy. I know I'm not used to this, I just need practice. King Cheng, sorry. Hey Zhuo Fan, did you hear any word I said? All of it. Zhuo Fan rolled his eyes. First off, I told you I'm not with the Central Areas group having my own interests. But the Sea Bright sect won't believe you. No matter, Zhuo Fan smirked, them believing or not is all the same to my life. I cannot die either way, ha ha ha. Wu Kinkyu was baffled. What do you mean it's all the same? They're never going to allow a Central Area spy to live, on top of having killed so many experts of theirs. Those Genesis stage experts outside weren't killed by you, but since Bali Yuyu did it to save you, you'll still be implicated. In their anger, they'll even take your life. It will only be harder on King Cheng after finally coming back. Now you, Zhuo Fan gave him a gesture to be quiet as he showed a vague smile. Brother Wu, you're a righteous cultivator to the core, even your thinking is upright. Be it killing or spying, none have anything to do with me. If killing meant death, then there would be no murders. It's nothing more than a scare tactic. The strong have always preyed on the weak. With enough strength, no one can take your life no matter who you kill. Zhuo Fan paced around, tending to Chu King Cheng's fine locks, his gentle care in complete dissonance with his cruel tone. Wu Kinkyu sighed, I know that, but you're now the weak one and about to be sacrificed. Aren't you scared? Why should I be? Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed, showing a devious smile. If they can strike me, you think I can't strike back. Unless they're backward enough to think like a dumb teenager and die together, they would never touch me. You really think that I was so open about letting them seal my cultivation and put me behind bars without any precautions? Wu Kinkyu's heart sank, being more confused than ever. Zhuo Fan's smirk turned serious when he looked at Chu King Cheng. I couldn't die because I wanted to reunite with my wife one day. Now I cannot die even more because she needs me. I am not about to let anyone take my life. Then I'll take it, demon. Bam. While a boom, the jail door burst open and a girl's voice echoed inside. Murongzu appeared with a furious scowl, stomping down the steps while staring at Zhuo Fan, who didn't even pause from combing. Shangyun Qingyan rushed to block her good sister, seeing her so furious, doing anything to soothe her. Sister Murong, what's wrong? Why are you so furious? You dare ask me that? Did you not see the many corpses of Sea Bright sect elders outside? Glaring at her, for the first time, Murongzu yelled at her sweet little sister, scaring her away. Ignoring her infatuated sister with Zhuo Fan, Murongzu glared, Gu Yifan, give me an answer. Did you kill those people? Word caught my ear that Southern Land's immortal healer Murongzu is smart and sharp, but why is it that today you're so slow? Tending to Chu King Cheng's temples, Zhuo Fan drawled, my Yuan Qi is sealed and I'm stuck in this barrier. You tell me how I am supposed to kill anyone, you stupid or what? Murongzu gasped in hatred, you might not have done it, but that woman around you did the killing, didn't she? Yep, Zhuo Fan was blunt. Murongzu gnashed her teeth, why has she been killing? Did you put her up to this? She did it to break me out. I asked you if you told her to kill so she could get you out. That's why I'm saying you're dumb. If I told her that, what would I still be doing here? I'd be miles away by now. Zhuo Fan cocked an annoying eyebrow, mocking the irate girl further. There's no point in having her save me, so I had her leave. So why are you here, a trip to the sect dungeon? Shangyun Qingyan couldn't contain her giggle. Murongzu glared at her and made her flinch in fright. But then she cautiously held her sister's trembling hand from rage, pleading, Sister Zhu, it's true. The woman came to save him when we were here. But he didn't want to go, coming to terms with his crimes and turning a new leaf. Could you ask Brother Murong Lai to speak for him with sect leader Ling and let him go? A new leaf, humph, his character is unchanging. Flinging her hand away, Murongzu glared with hatred at Zhuo Fan. Let me ask you, did you put that woman to make those 2 explosions in the sect? Don't try to deny it, I've seen the destruction, and it couldn't be made by anyone other than a Sword King level expert. Except for the central area, only that woman around you has such power. Now that she's missing, it's obviously. There's 3 explosions. Zhuo Fan cut her off with an evil smile. First was at a place far from Heaven's Sealing Pavilion, the second at the Heaven's Sealing Pavilion, as for the third. Zhuo Fan's grin widened. She gnashed her teeth in frustration and anger. The sect barrier. I knew it was you behind it all. Yep, I had her do it. What about it? I'll kill you. Zhuo Fan's callous admittance proved to have been the last push to Zhu's fury. She raised her palm and struck for Zhuo Fan's head. Even with his cultivation sealed, he still showed no fear before impending doom. Bam. Zhuo Fan just stood there with a smile, but Zhu had to withdraw 2 steps with a trembling hand. Her eyes were burning with even more rage. Plop. Zhuo Fan smirked as he knocked the air 3 times. Miss Murong, better not call yourself smart again. You're more of a bonehead. I'm a prisoner here, Missy, with a strong barrier left by Genesis stage experts. While I can't get out, neither can you get in. Miss Murong, you're better off asking sect leader Ling to open them if you still plan on killing me. Judging by that savage strike just now, your hand must be crushed, yet it still couldn't touch a hair on my head. Ha ha ha, I'm sorry, really I am. Here I am, at my weakest, yet you can't even reach me. Gu Yifan, you're one vile demon. Just you wait, we'll just see how long your cocky attitude lasts. Zhu glared at Zhuo Fan's taunting gaze and scrunched her teeth harder. She then flicked her hand and left. I'll report everything to sect leader Ling, he'll deal with you. First you slaughtered people in the Sea Bright sect, then you broke their barrier. Zhuo Fan didn't even flinch, looking at her in ridicule. Shangyun Qingyan started and begged, Sister Zhu, don't. He really hasn't done anything in jail, he's good. Good my ass, even if he doesn't move a muscle, disaster will still befall everyone, just like it did Central Area's Serene Shores trading. He is a devil rotten to the core, his mere existence is vile. Zhu clenched her fists and left in a huff, disregarding her sister's plea and even cursing, Yanner, have you got taken in by him? With everything that's happened here, with so many people dead, you still take his side. I will no longer help you hide it and report everything. Ah, no, Sister Zhu. Shangyun Qingyan cried after her and Wu Qinkyu sighed. This is a huge mess, Brother Zhuo. What are you going to do? Nothing, just wait and see. Aren't you scared the Sea Bright sect will execute you? They won't even try, moreover. Zhuo Fan quirked a smile. This only cements my safety. For now I have 2 blades and soon the 3rd, ha ha ha. Wu Qinkyu was baffled, feeling like Zhuo Fan had cast a net that spread over everyone, putting them on edge. Zhu, don't do it, give him another chance. Shut up, I've given him plenty of chances, which is why so many innocents are now dead. That foul demon has to be put down now, before he brings about an even greater disaster. Sister Zhu, it's really not him, but the one under him, who acted in his stead. Zhu and Shangyun Qingyan were fighting while walking for Sea Bright Sect's main hall. Shangyun Qingyan pleaded while Zhu would always throw her reasons aside, flaring in anger. He is a plague. His end will settle everything. You've been infatuated with him and can't see him for who he is. You even had me go along with this charade, but there's no point talking about this. I shall do the world this favor for the greater good. She shrugged Shangyun Qingyan's hand off and stormed into the main hall. Shangyun Qingyan was looking erratic as she followed after her. They, however, were left speechless as they came in, no longer saying a word. The mood was tense and heavy. The thick air was so oppressive it made it hard to breathe. There was not a single sound, not even from a random animal. Sect leader Ling Yunshan had a dark look on his face, his usual smile no longer seen. Yang Lingshan, Murong Lai, an exalted double dragon, and many others were tense too. Before them were 4 elders, stricken with guilt and lowered heads in shame. On the ground were the 2 disciples that worked with Bali Yuyu in passing the report. They were brought in under suspicion of being spies. Murong Lai looked confused at the heavy mood, no longer thinking of reporting Zhuo Fan and instead whispering to Murong Lai, brother, what happened? Why, a true disaster. Murong Lai sighed, actually looking mournful. Zhuo, you sensed it too. The 3rd explosion came from the sect barrier. Yeah, I did. Did someone get in? On the contrary, someone got out. They took the Northern Land's heaven-sealing sword as well. Murong Lai shuddered and his sigh was longer. Zhu's eyes widened and cried out, the heaven-sealing divine sword's gone. How? Yes, it's gone. That's the only reason why the strongest barrier in the lands could break. Murong Lai felt utterly powerless then. His hand flashed and revealed a golden longsword traced by golden flames. That means we only have the decimating sword as the only weapon against invincible sword. We now have no hope at all. Everyone lowered their heads, feeling the heavy loss. Shangyun Fakshin glanced at the heavy toothpick soaring sword had become with gnashed teeth. Exalted double dragons looked at each other in guilt. They might have had a chance against invincible sword now, if they hadn't let Danking Shen run off with the vaulting sword. They could only blame themselves for being soft on their disciple, though no one knew that the disciple did not have it. This issue led to exalted double dragons and Danking Shen coming to a huge misunderstanding, courtesy of Zhuo Fan. Sect leader, it's our fault we let Frigid Rain's Sword King take the sword. Sect leader, we will accept any punishment you'd inflict upon us without remorse. Looking at their dark faces, the 4 Snow Peak elders' guilt only grew, to the point they even gave a deep bow with tears on their faces. For any damage that our neglect has caused the sect, we deserve nothing less than execution. Ling Yunchen returned the bow and helped them up, not blaming them in the least, venerables. You've always held yourself with responsibility and diligence. Everyone in the sect knows this. It's all the thief's fault for using such a loud distraction to hide the truth while bringing false reports. Anyone would have fallen for it in such desperate moments. The more one is loyal to the sect, the easier it is for them to believe such treachery. Venerables, there's no need to blame yourselves. I have looked into these two disciples and they're not traitors, ending up controlled with a bewitching demonic art. Exalted Hai Ran's brow shook. The bewitching art isn't some incredible skill, for strong experts would not usually fall for such guile. And even if it worked, the target would end up dull-minded and easy to spot. To pull off such a trick on 4 peak Genesis experts shows how daring the user was and skilled. Exalted by May's side, it's not just daring but calculative. The skill is minor, easily seen through, yet highly effective in the created circumstance. Repeated confirmation makes it believable. Once they took it as real, they were tricked. Then it was just a matter of pouncing with utmost speed at the right moment to get the elders on the wrong foot and steal the sword. The others nodded and sighed. I've heard that the 9 Sword Kings are beyond strong, and that includes Frigid Rain's Sword King. I just can't believe one woman can be so vile and of such twisted cunningness. She's a true master in strength and mind. Ling Yunchen eased a long breath. Invincible sword has yet to come, and one woman's Sword King had us running around in panic. Then when we face invincible sword, how will we fight back? Right, what will we do? Who says there's anything we can do? Everyone was wrought with worry, looking bleak and downcast at the doomed and imminent future. Only Shangyun Feixing spoke. Sect leader Ling, do not be distressed. The thief might be Bali Yuyu, but it might not be her who devised this strategy. From how I see it, the only one among our lands that can come up with such a cunning tactic to control the enemy can only be Sword Star Empire's Bailey Jingwei. He must have planned this before. We have faced him in the central area and he almost destroyed us with his strategies. It was a very close call. He is truly dangerous. Even if it is Bailey Jingwei's plan, can't we do anything about it? Shangyun clan head, how do you intend to soothe my worries? Ha ha ha, I meant to say that she's too far away from the central area and not with Bailey Yushin. Once fighting starts, anything can happen and he's too far to give advice. So for now, our opponent is still just Invincible Sword. Oh, Shangyun clan head is right. Ling Yunchen nodded and sighed. Although Invincible Sword is an immense threat to us all, he finds any sort of strategy beneath him and would give us a breather. Ling Yunchen saw the others nod and relax as well, feeling relieved from their talk. Murongzu stepped in just then, cupping her hands. Sect leader Ling, I have a report. Shangyun Qingyan didn't stop her, shaking her head in anxiety. Miss Murong, why the sudden courtesy? Ling Yunchen had regained his kind smile. Murongzu spoke heavily. Sect leader Ling, the mastermind behind the theft isn't from the central area, but the imprisoned Cayenne merchant Cayenne Fan. Ling Yunchen looked dumbfounded. What did you say? Zuer, what's going on? Just tell us, Murong Lai urged her. Murongzu began. The leader of the Cayenne caravan is Steward Cayenne Fan, but I have met him before in the central area. He's the same one who caused the calamity in the central area, the demon Gu Yifan. Gu Yifan, Shangyun Feixing reacted instantly, his eyes looking hopeful. Gu Yifan is here now. Murongzu nodded. Wherever the foul Gu Yifan goes, disaster is soon to follow. I met him in the northern lands as I was coming here, and he also had a strong female guard that matched my brother. He may be in jail, but I have just confirmed that he's behind the devious plan to steal the sword. You can ask Sister Yanner if you don't believe me. She was there, and she knew he was here long before I did. Yanner, is what Zuer said true? Shangyun Feixing stared at his daughter. Shangyun Qingyan's face shook and relented a nod. Foolish girl, why haven't you said anything? You know I've been trying to find him all this time. Shangyun Feixing ignored everything and even forgot to salute the rest as he stormed outside, roaring, Gu Yifan, you bastard. What did you do to my sword? Fix it this instant. Where is the Seabright Sex jail again? Bam, in the gloomy prison, Shangyun Feixing was holding a scarlet sword, bursting right in and looking around with bloodshot eyes like someone who was possessed. Those hungry eyes took moments to find his quarry, setting his eyes on Zhuo Fan. What did I say? The first to show up will be Shangyun clan head. You lost, Brother Wu. Smirking, Zhuo Fan hardly cared being the target of such an intense gaze and spoke to Wu Qinkyu. Per our bet, you now owe me a favor. Wu Qinkyu shrugged. As long as it doesn't go against my morals, I'll do it, Brother Zhuo. Bam. Shangyun Feixing arrived before the two in one mighty leap, the stone floor cracking under him. Curse you, Gu Yifan. You might have the time of your life, but you almost got me killed. Shangyun clan head, why do you say that? Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow. Shangyun Feixing's face twitched, showing his scarlet sword and accusing Zhuo Fan. Damn punk, stop playing around. You dare ask me that? It's I who should be asking what the hell is this? What is what? Isn't that your clan's soaring sword? It's looking mighty polished. Can it? Shangyun Feixing was outraged, spitting as he raged, but the drops jumped back when met with the barrier, landing on his own face. It even got into his eyes. Zhuo Fan waved his hand. Shangyun clan head, why so excited? We even worked together. Screw your cooperation. He was about to rave again, but stopped before he sprayed himself again and swallowed. Wu Qinkyu sighed at the side, admiring Zhuo Fan. Who said that the mighty have fallen? Brother Zhuo has his cultivation sealed in prison, yet still talks with Eastern Land's best clan's clan head like he has the advantage. It actually looks like this big boss from Eastern Lands has his hands tied by a junior, ha ha ha. Crossing his hands, Wu Qinkyu enjoyed the show. Zhuo Fan was equally calm, considerate as he pointed. Shangyun clan head, I am now a prisoner of Sea Bright sect. My safety is guaranteed with the jail barrier in place. No matter what you try to do, it won't work. If you really want to punch me, then just like I said to Miss Murong, you'll have to go ask sect leader Ling, or maybe you could break it yourself. With your strength, that should be doable. Though that would be mighty rude of you before getting approval. That's not how the clan head of the best clan in Eastern Lands acts. Gu Yifan, are you a prisoner or a guest? The barrier is clearly keeping you here, so why are you talking like it's protecting you instead, like you're the lord here? What gives you the confidence? Sensing the mockery in Zhuo Fan's smile, Shangyun Feixing's face twitched hard. Zhuo Fan grasped at the air and his eyes shone. No matter where I am, with all under my control, I am the lord, just like now. You see me as a prisoner here in my cell, but the way I see it, it is Shangyun clan head that is the one imprisoned. I can do whatever I want here, even tend to my wife. But Shangyun clan head can't beat me, nor take it out on me, all because of this flimsy barrier. Ha ha ha, I only have a few of words for you. You can't touch me. Who do you think among us is the real prisoner? Zhuo Fan cocked an eyebrow, then walked to Kaior looking after Chu Qingcheng. Kaior, comb her hair. You're much better at it than me. It's the first time doing it for both of us, so why are you so good at it? Because we're girls. That's talent, sort of. Shangyun Feixing's mouth twitched as Zhuo Fan did whatever, then his words sunk in. The kid is right, I'm more tied down on the outside. Who is the one locked anyway? A prisoner outside, one that can't even beat a kid, while the one inside so carefree and infuriating to no end. Just what is up with this world? Shangyun Feixing felt stunned, now realizing that after meeting this brat, he was never in control, but the one being controlled. He didn't even have a way to vent his anger. He had to take his anger on himself, kicking himself while at it. Giving it some thought, Shangyun Feixing chose to calm down as much as he could, since anger didn't help him get his divine sword back. He took a deep breath and said, Gu Yifan, don't play dumb with me. You know exactly why I was angry. Soaring sword is the treasure of Eastern Lands. We made a deal that we would help you if you returned the sword. Yes, and I did give it to you. Isn't it right there in your hand? What you brought was a piece of scrap, Shangyun Feixing shouted. Why did you seal the sword's spirit? I was planning to use it to fight invincible sword. Now I'll end up dead without even putting up a fight. How isn't this your fault? Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow and sneered. You'd be doomed even with the help of the soaring sword. Since there's no use of you going, I just saved your life. You should thank me. Screw thanking you. You ruined soaring sword. How is that fair? Gnashing his teeth, Shangyun Feixing flicked the sword and demanded, you have to unseal it or else. Bam. This time it felt like a mob was barging in here as all kinds of experts rushed inside the jail. Zhuo Fan regarded everyone, then turned to Shangyun Feixing with a chuckle. Shangyun clan head, to be honest, I did seal the sword's spirit to take the soaring sword from Shangyun Feiyan. I was in such a hurry when I left that I forgot to unseal it. It's my oversight, so after all this time trying and failing to unseal it yourself, it's only right that I should do it to complete our agreement back then. That's right. I didn't mean anything else by it either. I can understand that you were rash and needed to save your son, but as long as you unseal it now, I will forget everything. We are an upright clan that keeps their word. Shangyun Feixing grinned in delight. He was only after unsealing the divine sword, so there was no reason to explode in anger if he got his wish. Zhuo Fan's words helped soothe his rage, but then Zhuo Fan shifted the subject with a sinister smile. Things have changed now. If you had come by yesterday to unseal it, I would have done it without hesitation. Now I'm afraid it'll have to wait. What does that mean? Why wait? Shangyun Feixing cried out. Zhuo Fan curled his lips, sweeping his eyes over the people walking down. Because I'm a weak lamb with 3 blades on me. Since you're my first blade, I can't just give you up so soon, now can I? Shangyun Feixing gave him a hard look, then turned to the others with a nod. Shangyun Feixing sighed, knowing his hopes were dashed. Ling Yunshan's group now approached Zhuo Fan, with exalted double dragons looking shocked to the core. It was beyond comprehension how the best disciple in Western lands that had perished 5 years ago would end up here, and as their enemy. They grimaced, even as Zhuo Fan remained calm and had no issue facing them. Qian Fan, Steward Qian Fan, Gu Yifan, Grandmaster Gu, and best disciple in Western lands, Zhuo Fan right. Looking at Zhuo Fan's calm visage, Ling Yunshan smiled. Sir is known by all of these. Which would be more appropriate to address you? Zhuo Fan shrugged. Feel free to call me anything, sect leader Ling. Though I've grown attached to Zhuo Fan. All right, Sir Zhuo, Ling Yunshan nodded. Could Sir Zhuo tell us in detail why in your capacity as Western lands disciple, you haven't returned to Western lands having recovered and instead come to Northern lands? Zhuo Fan turned serious, his eyes flashing. I came to these lands and to your sect for one thing, the North Sea Demon. What? Ling Yunshan and Ayang Lingshan gasped in shock. What do you want with that monster? Fan revealed a vague smile as he refused to answer. It doesn't concern you, so you shouldn't ask. Yes, we don't care about your personal matters and we can't get involved with Sea Demon either. Ling Yunshan sighed, then his eyes flashed and glared. Then what has Sir to say about Heaven's Sealing Sword getting stolen and our barrier destroyed? Did you do this? Yes. Why? Ling Yunshan stared at him hard and shouted, Heaven's Sealing Sword is the treasure of my sect and losing it will lead to countless losses. Sir is from Western lands and all 4 lands suffer the same problem. Also, we each mind our own problems, so why would you then do something so grave and lead to a hopeless fate? Because he is the herald of calamity, cold and cruel to anyone else's pain or life. Murongzu shouted in anger. The Central Area's case is the strongest evidence. So many lives were lost at his hand, yet he holds no remorse. Sect leader Ling, he cannot be allowed to live. For the good of the world, he has to be removed, or disaster will only keep appearing. The others looked at each other, but their eyes were thoughtful, each with their own idea. Bu Xingyun, who has seen Zhuo Fan for who he is, jumped right in. Miss Murong can't be more right. He has to die. Sect leader Ling, he admits to stealing the sword and should be put down as an example. Sect leader Bu, I have told you many times already. You are not in the Sun Sea sect. This isn't your place to make decisions. Ling Yunshan huffed and turned to Zhuo Fan. Sir, you have yet to answer. Zhuo Fan said, Sect leader Ling is a sharp man. Is there a need to ask? I said I wanted to go to the North Sea, but the Sea Bright sect cut off the path to it. The only way to get there is by breaking the barrier. Just for that you had the Heaven's Sealing Sword stolen? Just, eyeing Ayang Lingshan, Zhuo Fan chuckled. It might look like a flimsy reason, but it's crucial to me. To go to the North Sea, I stole Heaven's Sealing Sword, I ruined your barrier, and I would have certainly destroyed your sect or the 5 lands if I had to. Anyway, those that stop me will be crushed. You're a certifiable lunatic. Just for that you put all of the northern lands at risk. Ayang Lingshan roared. You could have said you wanted to go to the North Sea and we'd have let you. It's easy to have it done. Why did you insist on taking the sword and inflicting such damage? Zhuo Fan glanced at him with mockery. Senior Ayang, would you have really let me if I asked? Humph, you're too simple. If it would have been that easy, why would the Sea Bright sect be established on the shores of the North Sea, monopolizing its resources? Ayang Lingshan shook at the response. Also, you might call yourself upright and righteous, but none here is any nobler. Zhuo Fan jeered. Now that's such a big issue. You're saying opening access to the sea is nothing, that a simple request would have been enough. But if the sword had never been taken, would you have indulged a mere merchant's plea? The answer is obvious. How else would you have dominated the sea's exploitation? With that reason, the result is just as flat. Because you had the North Sea locked, I had no choice but to blow this simple matter as going to sea out of proportions. Because you stopped me, I had to move you out of the way first to continue my path. If you want to blame someone, don't blame my extreme methods, but your greed in stopping everyone else. Ling Yunshan's lips shook and relented a nod. Yes, with Sir Zhuo being a merchant, your approval would have likely been rejected. If I were in Sir Zhuo's place, I would have stolen the sword as well. Sect leader Ling, how can you say that? Just for going to see the entire northern land's population is at risk. How can they compare? Murongzu's glare never subsided. Just for himself, he spits in the face of virtue and good. His heart is twisted but also strong. He has to be put down. The others nodded this time, but then shook their heads soon after. Zhuo Fan grinned, uncaring for his safety, even taking time to mock her. Miss Murong truly is a warrior of justice. A shame the world isn't filled with people like Miss, dead set on purging evil. Some don't wish for my death. I fear your wish will have to go unanswered. Humph, be smug all you like. I'm sure sect leader Ling will uphold his principles and knows not to show any mercy against fiends like you. Murongzu glared in hatred, then cupped her hands in hope. Sect leader Ling, that's enough, Miss Murong. You don't have to say it, I have made up my mind. Murongzu perked up, taking it as a sign that Ling Yunshan took her side and was about to bring Zhuo Fan to justice. Sir Zhuo, will your guard return? Zhuo Fan nodded with a smile. Of course, you saw it yourself. She came to break me out, but I needed to tend to my wife, so I didn't leave. She'll be back, though, in a few days to go to sea. Good, then we'll wait till then. When she comes, I will personally escort you all out to sea. Ling Yunshin hesitated as he cupped his hands, then left. Ouyang Lingshan and the people of the Sea Bright sect understood and left as well. Murong Zhu was left dumbfounded, still as a statue. What is this? Why is he freed? He killed so many of your Genesis stage experts and stole your sword, but you're just going to move past it and even escort him to sea? What is going on here? Murong Zhu was utterly confused, while the rest knew why this happened. Shangyun Feixing had just gone through a verbal clash with Zhuo Fan, and Zhuo Fan was in no rush to unseal Eastern Land's sword, but that didn't stop him from feeling so down. He asked, pointing at the soaring sword, "Kid Seiwen, I'll wait for me before the sea." "All right, but you better not forget this again. Who knows how many years it will take for us to meet again." Shangyun Feixing sighed and left. Exalted Double Dragons hesitated before saying, "Zhuo Fan, we're happy you're alive. We wanted to look into what happened to you. I understand Exalted's difficulty and Master had settled everything in my stead. I am instead very grateful to you for looking after Chu Qingcheng all these years. I have yet to step into Double Dragon Manor for even one day, but I can be considered one of you still. You can put your mind at ease, Exalted. I will always be thankful to Double Dragon Manor and Western Lands." Zhuo Fan spoke over them. Exalted Double Dragons nodded in relief. They feared Zhuo Fan would have hated them for not dealing with the sects back then and letting Chu Qingcheng turn like this. With a devious otherworldly genius around and a monster watching them from shadows, the two never felt safe. Now though, hearing Zhuo Fan's gratitude, they finally found Zen. After a couple more words, they too left. Now there was only Wu Qinkyu, Shangyun Qingyan, Murong Zhu, and Murong Lai. Murong Zhu was overcome by confusion. "Brother, what is this? Why has sect leader Ling shown such leniency to this demon after all the hurt he's caused?" "Zuer, sect leader Ling is in charge of the sect and needs to think of everyone." Murong Lai took a deep breath. Murong Zhu said, still baffled, "If sect leader Ling is acting in everyone's interests, then he should know how much of a disaster he is. He can't be left alive. Now that he's set free, many more people will get hurt. Yes, this demon ought to be snuffed. If I live, more would die." Zhuo Fan patronized. "Miss Murong is so focused she saw me for what I am, a true demon that spreads pain and suffering. While Miss Murong wants to see me dead, I have too many demon progeny around. I could stand before you and present my neck, yet you still wouldn't be able to touch a hair on it, ha ha ha. What are you saying? For the technobabble impaired, I am a demon reaping countless souls, but Ling Yunshin, Ouyang Lingshan, and even Exalted Double Dragons are my children. They may deny it, but they know in their heart that they have to keep this true demon alive." Murong Zhu winced. Zhuo Fan continued regardless of her feelings, "You think you're the only bright enough to see me for the danger I am. They all know the minute I walk out will be sure to cause more suffering somewhere. Alas, their hands are tied, for I have on me 3 whimsical blades flying away the minute my soul leaves my body. They'll never see them again. That's why they can't touch me. 3 blades. First is the Shangyun clan's Soaring Sword. If I die, Soaring Sword remains sealed. It translates into the fall of the Shangyun clan, and with northern lands and eastern lands trapped, the other lands would fall as well. For the second blade, Heaven's Sealing Sword, is the same with Soaring Sword. The third blade, Devil Mountain. Double Dragon Manor had been scared witless 5 years ago when Devil Mountain took the stage and would never do anything to a Devil Mountain disciple, lest Devil Mountain would burn whole of Western lands in anger. Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed. They don't care about the casualties, only about getting the Heaven's Sealing Sword and unsealing the Soaring Sword. This affects their future. The constant cries of the masses fall on their deafened ears as all of their focus is set on the land's unification. They only care about losing their status and sex, not for the countless poor souls in pain and dying. That's why I said reporting me will only make it worse for you. Because you said too much, they won't touch me. I am now a prisoner, but I control their fates. It is not I who is locked away here now, but you, righteous warrior, obsessed with killing me." Bam! The 4 Snow Peak elders suddenly appeared with grave faces. Sect leader Ling has ordered us to watch over Zhuo Fan and the others. Zhu shuddered as she watched the 4 old men with shaken looks. Sect leader Ling sent the venerables to protect a divine sword thief. How does that make sense? Are they afraid that his henchmen will be back to break them out? Ha ha ha, Miss Murong, you know already. I'd have walked ages ago if I wanted to. Why would I need to stay here and even have these coots watching over me? Zhuo Fan sneered. Moreover, Ling Yunshin knows I want to go out to sea and won't leave even if I can of my own free will. Setting up such a strong guard for someone like that hardly makes any sense. Or are you still scared I'd escape despite wanting to be here? Murong Zhu's eyes shook and she gritted her teeth. Murong Lai sighed and pulled her hand. Zuer, let's go. Sect leader Ling said it's for the greater good. How is that so? Murong Zhu stared at the 4 elders. Seniors, I just wish to know, what is sect leader Ling's real reason for sending you to watch over a prisoner that doesn't want to escape? the four Snow Peak elders muttered to themselves before High Venerable replied, Miss Murong is sharp, sect leader did send us to watch him. He might not want to leave now, but what about later? With that woman's incredible strength, only the four of us could stop her from breaking in again. As for the other reason, High Venerable hesitated. What other reason? Murongzu knew it, but still insisted on hearing it. The four Snow Peak elders lowered their heads, giving Zhuo Fan the opportunity to condescend. Miss Murong, you're being hard on seniors. Do you really want to tear the last shred of cordiality? Ha ha ha, I bet you know already. The seniors are here to guard me, as in protect me, lest a certain someone gets the bright idea in the heat of the moment and kills someone of my immense value, making the two divine swords to be lost and damning the four lands. Especially when that certain someone has such an incredible brother. One'll need extra protection, no. Murongzu glared at him as her lips shook, then she turned to the four silent venerables. Their silence said it all. With a huff, she stormed out in indignation and fury. Murong Lai looked at them once and shook his head as he followed her. Only the four elders, Zhuo Fan's team, Shangyun Qingyan and Wu Qingqiu remained. I've never seen Sister Zhu so overcome with anger. Shangyun Qingyan sighed, feeling sad. Wu Qingqiu nodded. She believed she was ridding the world of evil for the common good, but the people on the same path as hers turned their backs, actually being cautious around her. It might not be just as simple as anger for Miss Murong, but disillusioned. She got here on the firm belief that good triumphs over evil, only to find that she is the only one willing to face a demon like me. Getting disappointed with reality is a given, ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan laughed in mockery. Shangyun Qingyan rolled her eyes and blamed him. It was all going fine so far, so why did you have to antagonize Sister Zhu further? I didn't do anything. She chose to walk this lone path herself. Zhuo Fan spoke. Humanity is filled with endless desires. And where there's desire, there's evil. Few in this world have a true righteous and benevolent heart, while the great majority who walk this path could never come to free themselves of their demons. She wants to go further on the path of purging demons, and she must bear the solitude and betrayal. Only by persevering through this can she reach the height of righteousness. But by being too rigid, one breaks easily. In this world, righteous cultivators have it hard to achieve their path. Either follow the crowd and ruin their paths, neither demonic nor righteous, always a stranger wherever they went, or die at the hands of others in this messed up world. But righteousness has a natural shortcut over the demonic path, having grown above the mortal coil and the worldly affairs. Shunning self-indulgence and feeling for the world's energy is the easiest way to achieve it. That's why demonic cultivators enter the world and understand it, while righteous cultivators enter the world and overcome it. Rise from the mire unstained, cleanse oneself in clear water without being tainted. Thus, Brother Wu, you're also a righteous cultivator, very much invested in it. Which is why, as a friend, I advise you to see the world in all its colors, then return to cultivate in seclusion. The secular world is too chaotic for a true righteous man to walk the path. Wu Qingqiu pondered and cupped his hands. Thank you, Brother Zhuo, for your guidance. We've also been guided. The four Snow Peak elders nodded and bowed before Zhuo Fan in admiration and sincerity. Sir is a demonic cultivator, yet your wisdom transcends it. We are grateful for your words. As the sect is now in danger, we are too preoccupied to mule them. We shall delve into these words once this problem passes and, like Sir said, not let the world impede us. Zhuo Fan rolled his eyes. I'm talking to my brother here, not you. Tell that to someone who cares, humph. The four sat before the cell with a smile, like experts that have surpassed the world. Wu Qingqiu and Shangyun Qingyan chuckled, looking at Zhuo Fan with respect. Zhuo Fan hadn't said it to them particularly, but the words of wisdom were immensely valuable, which is why the elders would lower their pride and bow to him. Zhuo Fan was a true friend to say those words to him. While the people in the dungeon were struck with inspiration, the outside people still indulged in their worries and affairs. Sect leader Ling, do you really believe he'll return the sword? Bu Xingyun was panicking, whining in Ling Yunshan's ear. Even if he does give it back, you're just going to ignore all the deaths that have happened in the sect. Even if you don't kill him, you need to make an example out of him. We need to do right by those dead elders. See, Bright Sect needs to mind its name. Giving him a frustrated look, Ling Yunshan sighed. Sect leader Bu, now I know why Sun Si Sect would incite Frigid Rain's Sword King to destroy it. The problem doesn't stop with your people. Sect leader Ling, what are you implying? Bu Xingyan looked lost. That sneaky punk is clearly behind the disaster of Sun Si Sect. What do I have to do? Ling Yunshan cut him off with a wave. As sect ruler, we need to have perspective. Zhuo Fan is very cunning and an expert in passing the blame. You saw it too. We went to him and he didn't deny anything, always finding an explanation, always having an answer. But the thing we wanted most, we didn't get. The soaring sword remains sealed. The heaven sealing sword is still gone and he still has leverage on us. What do you suggest? Torture him for them. He made his move, so what's there to force? To settle the score for the dead. Haha, he has 2 cards of ours and we have reached an agreement now. They will soon be back in our hands. Doing this petty thing to ruin any chance of getting the divine swords, the central area would mow us down. Who will take the blame then? Sect leader Bu. Bu Xingyun choked. Ling Yunshin shook his head and sighed. Zhuo Fan's speech balanced demand and compromise, giving us no chance to gain advantage and letting him control the negotiation. He had taken everything into account before it even began. He had his guard flee with the heaven-sealing sword before we could take it back. All the power we have can't help change this fact. He may be in jail, but looking at it in perspective, we're the ones having our strings pulled in his hands. Moreover, Ling Yunshin turned to Shangyuan clan and exalted double dragons with a sharp glint. He is very close to these 2 lands people, implicating many and affecting their interests. They'll never agree to us laying a finger on him. Not that we intended to either, and ruin our chances of getting Heaven's sealing sword back. Thus, of the 4 lands, 3 have reached a silent agreement. Only Southern lands is against it. That Murongzu has such a stubborn temper, but alas, all alone. From the very start, even with his cultivation sealed, we, the strong majority, couldn't touch a hair on him despite having him surrounded. He is confident in his position. Bu Xingyun's heart sank and a chill went through him. That's terrifying. He gives nothing away while having every one of us tied. Yeah, Western lands has gone and got themselves a man like no other. But now he isn't part of Western lands anymore. Looking at exalted double dragons, Ling Yunshin frowned and sighed. Murongzu stormed out of the dungeon and stomped away in anger. Ling Yunshin watched her go. Murong Lai followed after her, but sect leader Ling went to stop him. He did not mind a girl's temper, but Murong Lai's dissatisfaction had to be resolved for the good of the alliance. Ling Yunshin bowed and looked apologetic. Murong clan head, forgive me. Heaven's sealing sword is too important to us and have lost decorum. I know, sect leader Ling. I understand my sister's temper the most. Sect leader Ling did what you had to. Murong Lai nodded calmly. Ling Yunshin eased a smile. Murong clan head, I'm relieved to know you are a man of principle. I'll wait for Miss Murong to calm down, then apologize to her and make it right. Report. A disciple rushed over in panic, scrambling to give a jade slip to Ling Yunshin. Sect leader, there's an urgent report from the front lines. The army of the Sword Star Empire, led by dragon-cleaving sword King Danking Shen, is advanced on northern lands. What? Everyone was stunned at this grave news. Sword Star Empire's oppression had begun at last. So little frigid rain, in a pitch-black forest, beneath the black clouds, Invincible Sword was sitting cross-legged on a rock with his eyes closed. Before him was the most familiar person, on their knees and presenting an icy sword with utmost respect. Bali Yuyu had returned to the Empire's camp the minute she stole the sword, to give Heaven's sealing sword to her patriarch. Bailey Yushin gave her a sharp look, grinning and gesturing for the divine sword to shoot in his hand. Ha ha ha, yes Yuyu, you've done great this time, you brought back Heaven's sealing sword. See, bright sex barrier will be nothing but paper now. I can blow at them and they'd be crushed. Yuyu, your feat is remarkable, ha ha ha. Thank you, Patriarch, for your care. I am grateful. Bali Yuyu cupped her hands, then hesitated. Patriarch can see that my success is due to Zhuo Fan's cunning plan. He deserves credit for my feat, but he is now imprisoned and cannot bask in Patriarch's blessing. Would it be possible to save him, Patriarch? Waving the sword around to get a feel of it, Bailey Yushin paused and his mood fell. Zhuo Fan, is it that Cayenne Fan pretender? A Devil Mountain disciple that threatened me and 5 sword kings with our lives got himself caught by some nobodies in the Seabright sect. Humph, he's just a joke after all. Patriarch, please. I saw that even in the few times he moved, he's at a soul harmony stage cultivator at least. It's not amazing, but he has guile, though he loves prancing. Bali Yuyu bowed again, pleading, with Seabright sect having caught him and I stealing the divine sword, they are sure to take it out on him. I don't know how long he'll last. I just hope Patriarch will lend a hand in teaching Seabright sect a harsh lesson. Show Patriarch's might and generosity by nurturing him. By saving his life, it will be 2 birds with 1 stone. He would be in immense gratitude and would swear his life to Patriarch. Bailey Yushin raised an eyebrow and glared at her. Are you telling me what to do? Never. Bali Yuyu shuddered and crawled on the ground. Bailey Yushin mocked. I had you go with him to see through his skills and the limits of Devil Mountain. Now Devil Mountain no longer seems as insurmountable as before. The kid is so weak, of no importance. But Patriarch, silence, Bailey Yushin roared at her interjection. His eyes were sharp. Bailey Yuyu, you're only breaking more rules with your actions. Has it been fun these last few days? You dare argue with me? The only reason I have ignored your repeated disregard is because you brought Heaven's sealing sword. Now leave. Bailey Yuyu hesitated, but still pushed on. Patriarch, he may be weak, but just as shrewd as the Prime Minister. He would be a great help to you, Patriarch. The gain of this sword is all due to him. I only ask that Patriarch save his life and inspire him with your favor. Bam. A huge force struck Bali Yuyu and sent her flying through dozens of trees. She landed hard and coughed blood from the impact, but her eyes no longer had anger in them but stubbornness. Bali Yuyu, I told you to be quiet, but you just won't listen. This is what you get for defying me. Bailey Yushin showed his power, his icy bloodthirst. Bali Yuyu shuddered, her heart tensed. Whoosh! Thunder Sword King flashed between them just then. Noticing the situation and Bali Yuyu, the rough man could glean on what happened. He bowed to Bailey Yushin and presented a jade slip. Patriarch Prime Minister sent word. We can start in 10 days. With oppression from all sides, the 4 lands would crumble soon. I know. Bailey Yushin took the jade slip and placed it in his ring after reading it. He then left, though his icy voice still echoed, 10,000 lashes, make her remember her place. Bali Yule bowed and walked to Bailey Yuyu and helped her up. Just what happened. Patriarch should be thrilled you brought him Heaven's sealing sword, so why? I asked Patriarch to save the kid, but Patriarch refused. Wiping her bloody lips, Bailey Yuyu sighed. I thought Patriarch would agree seeing the Heaven's sealing sword in my hand, but... Bailey Yule complained, Yuyu, why even bother? Patriarch only wanted to know his limits and had no other intentions for him. Patriarch had said these days the kid is sly and should be removed if there's a chance. He was waiting on your return before making a decision. With the kid caught, then Patriarch has no fear of Devil Mountain. It's good enough he doesn't kill the kid himself. Why then would you beg him to go? Patriarch wants to kill him. Why? Bali Yuyu jerked with a start. He's no sword king or cultivator in the Genesis stage, but he has amazing talent and bravery. His future is limitless, so why is Patriarch? Bailey Yule sighed, Yuyu, Patriarch is the strongest man. While he laments how lonely it is at the top, does he really want to be defeated? Humph, you'd best not take his fondness of outsiders like Danking Shen and Shangyuan Feiyun seriously. Patriarch only saw that they posed no threat to him, while the kid, while you were away, had shaken him up with mere words. The attitude and aura almost had Patriarch soil himself, even we fell for it. That's why Patriarch was respectful to him, but also on guard. Now, he learned it was nothing more than a ruse, only giving him more reasons to kill the kid. His bluffing now, but his potential is undoubtedly real and could become a threat. Patriarch isn't about to overlook him, and you say he's skilled in mind games and arts, which makes him that much terrifying. Patriarch looks down on sword kings because they can never reach him, not even together. Bailey J. Ingwe is also ignored with his sharp mind because smarts hold no power over true strength. He can kill him whenever, but by being skilled in both aspects, one could rule the world. It would ruin Patriarch's aspirations. The more you begged for the kid, the more his fate was sealed. Patriarch must kill him, then what do? Bali Yuyu shook, her eyes trembling and her fists clenched. Bailey Yule frowned, Yuyu, there's something wrong about you ever since you returned. Why do you care so much about his fate? You've always kept to yourself so far and have killed scores of experts these centuries without ever flinching. Why then just a few months with that kid had you go against Patriarch for him? Yuyu, brother Yule, I don't want to be lonely. Bali Yuyu's lower lip quivered, pleading, brother Yule, I can't thank you enough for all you've done for me. Now that Patriarch wants to kill him, could you do something to save him? He's sure to be immensely grateful. Bali Yuyu even kneeled. Pa, Bailey Yule clutched her arm and took a deep breath. Yuyu, you're asking the impossible. Nothing can stop Patriarch from killing someone. Brother Yule, I beg you. Bali Yuyu teared up, her face most earnest in her pleas. Bailey Yule sighed, get up for now and let me exact your punishment. Just give me time to think about it. Brother Yule, thank you so much for your help. Bali Yuyu brightened and smiled regardless of her wounds. Bailey Yule had a wry smile. Yuyu, you've really changed. It's good you learned to smile. 3 days later, the Sea Bright sect was officially at war. All disciples were armed, ready, and pumped to fight. They had pills, spiritual weapons, spiritual beasts, everything. With the repeated flashing of the teleportation array, motes of light floated down like stars, illuminating the faces of the other 3 lands' reinforcements. Western Land's disciples had come to realize on that day at that stage that it was Zhuo Fan who had struck last. They hoped to visit him, but with the war upon them, the situation was too dire and they were refused. The best disciple in Western Lands had returned, and they wished to bask in his glorious presence, even as a prisoner. Especially some of his old pals, wishing to talk about the past, but the martial law in the sect prevented all that. As for the elders, they had never left the main hall. They had been looming over the map of the 5 lands with increasing worry and constantly debating on the right tactic. The enemy was taking them by the storm, with Invincible Sword having already slipped deep into their lands and in hiding. He felt like a hanging axe over their necks. Many experts were left behind so the main base wouldn't fall so quickly. But with the front line having Danking Shen, the casualties would mount fast. This war was hard, especially being pushed from two sides. Bailey Jingwei is a true tactician, having invincible swords teams slip into our lands to control our reactions. While they can bide their time, we need to think twice on every action. We can only watch as our front lines get pushed back, watch as death looms ever closer. Ling Yunshin was bleak, looking at the other experts. Do any of you have any ideas? Please share it, Muronglai shook his head. We're mostly fighting men. Fighting alone is more our style, and we are unaccustomed to such large-scale battles. And there's also Bailey Jingwei manipulating the board from behind. This only makes things worse. Western Lands has a few deep thinkers and men of military expertise. They protect Western Lands' borders, but we didn't bring them. They would surely have a solution. Exalted High Ran spoke with a frown. Ouyang Lingshan nodded. These years the Luo Alliance has experienced immense growth with the military clan leading them. The Western Lands should be under their control. Yes, ever since they came in, Western Lands' safety has only solidified, ha ha ha. Exalted Bai Mei laughed with pride. A shame they're left as Western Lands defenders. Just one of them coming to Northern Lands would have been of immense help in making sense on how to counter this grave problem. Bu Xingyun had a wry smile. Exalted Bai Mei sure is confident in Western Lands' defense. Then when the central area attacks Western Lands, there'll be no need for our help. Yes, you should be able to last for a long time, Humph. Exalted Bai Mei glared at him. Report. A disciple burst in and presented a jade slip, not to sect leader Ling, but to Exalted Double Dragons. Exalted, there's an urgent report. Western Lands is in danger. What? Exalted Hyran snatched the jade slip and gasped. Zither Sword King is marching with his army on Western Lands. Everyone gasped. How can it be? Does Bailey Jingwei plan on taking 2 lands in this war? Is Central Area that strong? People, Western Lands is in peril, can you? Exalted Hyran cupped his hand with a heavy look. Bu Xingyun scoffed, enjoying his pain. Exalted Hyran, you needn't be hasty. We all know Western Lands has the most capable Luo alliance tending to its borders. They won't fail. It's best we address Northern Lands issues first before tending to Western Lands. You. Exalted Hyran gnashed his teeth and flicked his hand. Inform all of Western Lands people. We're returning. Exalted, please, we need to stay united. We're not abandoning Western Lands. Don't listen to sect leader Bu. Ling Yunshin bowed an apology. Exalted Hyran bowed back, looking guilty. Sect leader Ling, I am not so petty. We just can't ignore our home's plight. We can't help Northern Lands in this, I'm sorry. Once Western Lands is safe again, we'll be rushing to help Northern Lands. The 4 lands are of one body, helping each other in need. Ling Yunshin was very courteous. Western Lands is in danger and you should by all right go protect them. Once Northern Lands is stable, we will provide help. The Exalted Double Dragons bowed once more in gratitude. The people of Western Lands soon gathered outside the hall, ready to head back. The other 3 landsmen saw them off. But then another disciple rushed to the elders with a jade slip, bowing to Murong Lai. Clan head, Wine Sword Immortal is leading an army for Southern Lands. Please return and fight him off. Southern Lands as well. Murong Lai shook in shock, just as another disciple shot for Shangyun Feixing with a jade slip. Clan head, Eastern Lands reports that Shangyun Feiyan is marching with 3 million strong on our borders. Please make a decision, Clan head. Now Eastern Lands. Shangyun Feixing's mouth twitched and paled. Everyone else was looking agape. Northern Lands was at war and now the other 3 lands were engaged in battle as well. What was worse, each front had a sword king leading them. What's Bailey Jingwei thinking? Is he planning to take all the lands by going all out? Ling Yunshin slumped from the shock. They say Bailey Jingwei is a mastermind of complex plans, subtle and sharp. Why then would he risk so much by attacking with everything and leaving himself open? Central area is now open. Doesn't he fear an attack? Even with Sword Star Empire leading an entire land, it still needs all the manpower it has to war against the other 4. Any unrest in their empire might prove fatal, so why? Everyone was overwhelmed by such a seemingly rash tactic. Shangyun Feixing sighed, we can talk all we want about his risk, but if we don't do something, it'll be our homes that fall. Sorry, sect leader Ling, we need to defend our homes. Goodbye, we want to help Northern Lands, but we need to protect our lands, forgive us. Sect leader Ling, we're friends, but we need to look after ourselves first. Forgive us. Everyone rushed to say their apologies to sect leader Ling and got ready to leave. They had to return home and not dally in another's. Ling Yunshin sighed in defeat. We'll be broken, all of us, if we scatter. Ask yourselves which land can stand up to Central Area by itself. Northern Lands are under the greatest danger of destruction, with invincible sword and 5 sword kings lurking in shadows. We will be the first to fall, followed by everyone else, one by one. We need to stand together and not let him pick us apart. Otherwise, it'll only be a matter of who dies last. Sect leader Ling, we understand, but who do we sacrifice? Exalted Hai Ran looked long at Ling Yunshin. We all know victory comes from unity, while death follows apart, but we have no choice. I'm from Western lands, so of course I think for their safety. Shangyuan clan head is from Eastern lands and wants their best too and would not agree. Isn't that the same for Northern lands and Southern lands? Bailey Jingwei has given us a very tough problem that no one can address, left to handing a blank paper with no answer. The others could do nothing but cup their hands. Bailey Jingwei is a true mastermind. He can see how weak we are, and even though we gathered to help, it's just a joke now. He is a demon toying with us. Who the hell would sacrifice 3 lands over one's safety? The others shook their heads, neither wanting to give up their homes and domains. It was like waiting for Central Area to trap them and snuff them out. They sighed powerlessly and in despair. In the end, our fates are in heaven's hands. We can only last as long as we can manage. Maybe one person can solve this. Someone barged into their despairing speech. Everyone turned to Shangyuan Feixing in shock. Who? Gu Yifan. Shangyuan Feixing's eyes flashed. I mean Western Land's best disciple, Zhuo Fan. He once helped us steal our sword back from Central Area, even clashing with Bailey Jingwei and winning. The only one who can stand up to Bailey Jingwei's sharp mind is him. All eyes shot in his direction, then agreed after a moment of reflection. They all had first-hand experience of Zhuo Fan's twisted and insidious mind. The exalted double dragons could be said to take the cake. If there was a prize involved, Zhuo Fan's skill is unquestionable. He was well known in Western lands back then, even laying the foundation of today's Luo alliance. It's a good thing we can consult him on the 4 lands plight, and we might even make a comeback. Then we should forget our status and seek his counsel. You can't, Ling Yunshin agreed after a pause, with Murongzu glaring at them in cloying righteous anger. He's an abomination, a herald of calamity. By no means can we hand over command of countless lives to him so he can do what he pleases. It will lead to unspeakable horrors. Ling Yunshin frowned and spoke solemnly. Does Miss Murong have a better idea for our current crisis? Murongzu could find no words. Ling Yunshin sighed. Miss Murong, forgive an old man's crude words, but what man would care if the water is good or not when thirst has him in a tight grip? As the urgent matters stand, we need someone that can help us overcome this situation. We're at a point when any idea, even rotten, would be better than nothing, regardless of consequences. Miss Murong, we're open to any ideas you might have, but if you have none, I hope Miss won't be so adamant to refuse, thank you. Ling Yunshin bowed with a cold face, then addressed the rest. Let's go see what solution can the Western land's best disciple provide. He led the way to the sect dungeon, his eyes gleaming with hope. Murongzu was the only one left behind in defiance still. Zuer, the bigger picture takes precedence. Stop only thinking of your biased principles. Muronglai patted her shoulder with a sigh. Murongzu was indignant. I'm not biased. The guy's mind is warped. Any plan will be twisted, uncaring for the dangers it might bright or the damage. Just why does sect leader Ling insist on beseeching a devil? In despair, man will take anything, be it from God or a devil. Muronglai sighed, patted her head and followed after them. Their last hope was Zhuo Fan, who beat Bailey Jingwei at his own game. They gave little thought to the indignity and cruelty such a plan might involve. Inside his cell, Zhuo Fan was enjoying his rare moment of bliss. He was meticulous in combing the white hair of his wife, flowing before him like a silver waterfall. Zhuo Fan smiled, filled with tenderness for the woman. He prompted Kaior for an answer. What do you think of your dad's combing this time? Better. Kaior giggled with a thumbs up. Zhuo Fan nodded and said, of course, after 3 days of combing, I've got the hang of it, though even combing forever feels short. I just hope to give your mom the best combing I can before leaving. I wouldn't want to leave in regret. Dad will be getting back from the North Sea safely, don't worry. Kaior noticed his worry and soothed him. Zhuo Fan said, who can tell for certain? It's best to plan ahead. It's because of doing things without a plan last time that I hurt your mom leaving like that. I will think it through now and go without regret, so that if I don't return, I'll leave your mom cared for. Zhuo Fan's eyes moistened as he looked at Chu King Cheng. Kaior shook her head, falling silent. You're a true man, sir. I have seen many demonic cultivators, men that have gone far on the demonic path, betrayers and savages, but none like sir, so intoxicated with love, outdoing many great righteous cultivators too. The 4 Snow Peak elders were touched by his display of affection and sighed, you look nothing like a demonic cultivator. When we heard of your past exploits, then see you now, it's like you're a different person. Has sir relinquished the demonic path, or have you reached a stage beyond our scope? We are simply bemused. Zhuo Fan sighed, who can say? Emotion is the bane of the demonic path, but in the words of my masters, a checkpoint in the demonic path. So I plunge in head-on deeper and deeper. Even I have yet to realize just how far gone I am. I may just be walking a new demonic path, though I've only passed the start of it with no end in sight. Or maybe I've strayed from the path without even knowing it. Sir, is of incredible bravery to walk an untraveled road and its dangers. We are in awe. The elders bowed, but taking a new path to its end is bound to bring monumental achievement. We would wish for nothing more than to witness your glory. Zhuo Fan sighed. The road ahead is obscured. I can't even get my bearings, let alone think of glory. But this path I chose, I will brace myself until the very end. To stay by her side and defeat my enemy, I need to keep going. Zhuo Fan's eyes shone with conviction, and the four elders paid their respects again. Bam! The jail door opened and Ling Yunshin's group entered with long faces. The four elders glanced over with a frown, even annoyance at the interference. These 3 days, these exceptional experts had been watching Zhuo Fan and his deep insight in the demonic path. They had casual words exchanged, yet each were entwined with profound truths. The elders had come to forget about their guard duty, resolved to expound on Tao and glean many truths and realizations for their souls. Ling Yunshin's arrival was most unwelcomed, carrying with him and his group the rot of the mortal world. The four were, understandably, most against it, like how a child was having the sweetest dream getting shaken awake and smelled reality. The four elders were the same. The righteous path overcomes the mortal world, and with the debates they held with Zhuo Fan, they felt they were above mundane and mortal desires. But to be plunged back down in the mortal mire gave a shock to their systems. As bright sect's venerables, they knew their sect leader had to have come with real reasons and welcomed him with respect instead of anger. Ling Yunshin was too rushed to notice their change, bowing before Zhuo Fan. Sir Zhuo, I have come today seeking counsel. I know, you do, it's just about that time. Zhuo Fan smiled, pausing his combing and regarding the agitated old men. Central Area's Sword Star Empire must have attacked. Ling Yunshin shook. Sir, how do you know? Isn't it obvious? Sect leader Ling's hasty arrival could only mean real business. If not Heaven's sealing sword, then it's Central Area related. Not to mention you weren't that distressed even when you lost Heaven's sealing sword. Zhuo Fan smirked as he walked closer and sat on a chair a guard freed for him. And lastly, the Central Area had to have taken such action that even sect leader Ling couldn't cope with. Ha ha ha. Everyone's hearts sank, yet their eyes gleamed brighter. Zhuo Fan lives up to his name, of incredible mind and foresight. That means he should have a counter for Bailey Jingwei's plan. They all looked eagerly at Zhuo Fan like their savior. Shangyun Feixing was even more excited. Sect leader Ling, didn't I tell you he's a deep thinker? Coming to him for help in this was the best idea. Don't stand around, ask young Master Zhuo for the solution. Right, young Master Zhuo, Central Area's army. Ling Yunshin rushed to bow as he spoke. Zhuo Fan dismissed him with a wave. There's no need of that, I already know. Central Area's army is not only attacking northern lands, but the other 3 lands, a war on all fronts and with no hope in sight. They all shook and stood there in stunned silence as they stared at Zhuo Fan. Sir has such a cunning mind. Ling Yunshin's eye twitched, shaken awake, then bowed again. We've only got word of these attacks, yet Sir knows without even looking. Yes, it's as Sir said, Dragon-Cleaving Sword King is leading the attack on northern lands, while the other lands each have a Sword King taking charge of those large armies as well. We can't do anything and can't think of what to do, just come ask for Sir's advice. Zhuo Fan smirked. It's quite simple, really nothing to it. Simple? Everyone twitched, their eyes glazed over in confusion. With this grave danger from being attacked on 4 fronts, Sir Zhuo thinks it's nothing. Is that just boasting, or does he have some godlike strategy to help us out of this? Everyone was looking incredulous and stunned. He can't be playing with us, can he? Exalted High Ran got caught off guard as well by his boasting. Zhuo Fan, you're the pride of Western lands. We all know of your skills, but you can't look at this with such disregard. You need to be serious. Bailey Jingwei himself came up with this plan, the best mind in the Central Area. There is no room for errors. You need to think things through and come up with a complete response. How to deploy troops, how to repel the enemy, to provide support, to bait the enemy, to charge, all of these need thorough thinking. You are dealing with the most famous mind, and any mistake. Exalted High Ran, you're just enumerating military tactics, but I'm not too familiar with these. If you're after victory, you're welcome to see Luo Yunhai. He's much better than me. Zhuo Fan cut him off with a smirk. You know him as Luo clan head, having grown in the military and of deeper knowledge of wars than myself. Exalted High Ran was stumped. I mean, Zhuo Fan, don't joke around. Luo Yunhai is a fine man, yes, but if he could fight the shrewd Bailey Jingwei, then the latter wouldn't have put us in such a predicament by going to war on 4 fronts. So when not even an unbeatable general can handle him, this shows that military tactics have no place here. Zhuo Fan smiled. Exalted High Ran, you're already off the minute you thought about scoring victory. This isn't a matter of fighting. They all flinched in bewilderment, with Ling Yunchen cupping his hands. Sir Zhuo, if this is not war, what then? Who is Bailey Jingwei, Central Area's Sword Star Empire Prime Minister? There you have it. Zhuo Fan cocked an eyebrow. He's no commander or general, but a prime minister. Is he even thinking about fighting you? He's a politician, doing his very best with leveraging. Murong Lai's brow shook and muttered, how is a politician any different from a commander, now that he directs the Central Area armies? He's far greedier. Zhuo Fan replied, there's no guile without trade, but there's none more cunning than a politician. A commander is always focused on gaining ground, on winning one battle at a time, while a politician is only thinking of fattening his pockets with every action while ignoring the details. He wages war with 4 lands, but does he really want to fight them all? His true purpose is to scatter you. No matter which land you choose to defend, the other 3 will be sour, making it easier for them to get the lands. It's a far more effective plan than fighting for every inch of land. In other words, it's a mind game of no consequence how the 4 wars end while your changing mindset is. They all bobbed their heads, seeing reason. Ling Yunchen bowed again in respect. We've thought of this as well, but with Sir's analysis, we came to see how insidious it is. But understanding is one thing, while dealing with it is another. We ask for Sir's advice. Couldn't be easier. If Bailey Jingwei was a nice guy, I'd be stumped as well. However, a guy enacting such a sneaky ploy has no place among the righteous. I can read him like an open book. When he had Bailey Yushin go to northern lands with 5 sword kings, I had it all figured out. Neither of us are nice guys. Only a man of our devious minds can understand the other, he. Zhuo Fan had a cryptic smile and the other smiled in joy, eager to know what his counter was. Zhuo Fan chose silence, unnerving them at the worst moment and making these old guys' faces go red and beaming at him with endless hope. Bro, where's the rest? Zhuo Fan spoke with pride. By the way, we've yet to establish terms. Let's begin, shall we? They all flinched and almost fell. Their faces twitched and faces fell. Oh right, nothing's free in the world. He's certainly not above asking to be paid for his rescue plan. Zhuo Fan sure knew how to sell himself, showcasing his talent before talking terms, mentioning them any sooner and the other party would never believe in his skills. Zhuo Fan led the talks, making it so he was their only hope of survival. They were stuck with him, and as desperate men clinging for any lifeline, they would take his terms without question. Sir Zhu, we will agree with any terms you might have, just help us against the Central Area's invasions. Ling Yunchen turned serious as he spoke in earnest. That was all Zhuo Fan needed to hear, his face beaming. First off, this 5 fronts war shall be under my command with none permitted to interfere. Of course, since only you can handle Bailey Jingwei, we will follow your lead. Everyone gave hasty nods. Second, I want you to vow on your path to look after King Cheng's safety. No matter what happens, you are to protect her and look after her. Well, they looked baffled with Zhuo Fan continuing. Anything can happen on the battlefield. At my sudden demise, you can't even look after my family. I can't leave this world knowing my wife isn't taken care of. Vow and I'll be at ease. Oh, I see, sure. They all saw reason, making their vows based on their own path in cultivation. Once a cultivator made such a vow, it was for life. He had to fulfill it or his entire beliefs would crumble along with feeling the wrath of heaven. None would take such a promise lightly, though it was just over some widow. What was the worst that could happen? Only exalted by Mei and exalted Hai Ran felt their faces heat up. Zhuo Fan was clearly hinting at them saving Yilin while leaving Chu King Cheng to die mere days before at the stage. Such was their bad luck, as Zhuo Fan was not around the past years to see how thoughtful they were of Chu King Cheng all this time. Doing this had made it seem that this 5-year-long favor was for nothing. Opportunity is much more praised than prevention. Exalted Hai Ran sighed. Zhuo Fan was at ease now that this condition was accepted. He no longer needed to worry about King Cheng's safety when he'd be out at sea. Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed and said, next isn't much of a condition. It's not exactly right for a convict to command the elders' forces of every land. Oh right, we are fully committed to supporting Grand Marshal Zhu of the 4 lands in defending our homes from invaders. All lands, sects, and clans are at your disposal. Ling Yunchen bowed. The rest followed suit. May Sir be appointed as Grand Marshal of the 4 lands to fight back the enemy. In that case, what are you waiting for? Get this Grand Marshal free and out there fighting Bailey Jingwei. Do you expect me to fight him behind bars? Zhuo Fan cocked an eyebrow and smirked. Kaior giggled at the side. The merchant guards bowed with smiles of respect. Sir Zhu is wise beyond his years. He had no worry of being exposed since he already had everything in control. He's like a god. Zhuer, you can relax knowing my dad, brother Murong, and everyone else are men with experience in the cultivation world. They've seen it all and aren't about to let some fresh punk delude them. Before the main hall, Murong Zhu was still looking distressed and in anger. Ouyang Changqing tried appeasing her, but the girl of his dreams was most definitely not interested. Western lands people had long since gathered, waiting on Double Dragon Manor's orders to return and defend home. Northern lands' best disciple words earned their cold glares. Yilin sneered as he mocked him. You sure got a mouth on you. You're not grown up yourself, yet you call another a punk. Yilin, I have beaten you once, best disciple in Western lands, and I can do it again. Care to try? What's to fear fighting a dumb brat? But get one thing straight, I was the best disciple before, but with my elder brother back, I'm now second. Though I'm more than enough for the likes of you. Then I'll just start the thrashing with you before settling with your convicted elder brother. The best disciple in the land is a crucial part of my future. I'm not about to give it up, humph. Crack. Ouyang Changqing's knuckles crackled as he made his fist, giving Yilin a cruel smile. Yilin cocked his head unafraid, smirking as he stepped closer. The two were ready to draw blood. The audience shook their heads, with Murongzu totally ignoring them. Wu Qinkyu waved his hands, stepping between them with a smile. Little junior brother, we're still guests here and can't start a fight with our hosts. Young Master Ouyang, you're the image of your sect and shouldn't fight with your guests. Both our elders will have to punish you if you go through with this. We're about to part anyway, so can we please not do it with a fight? Let's all go our way on good terms. The two huffed and looked away. Wu Qinkyu shook his head. The others nodded at him. Yilin may be the strongest in Western lands, but the leadership will fall to Wu Qinkyu with his elegance. He knows how to look at things in perspective. Only his broad mind could keep the peace between the sects. No other disciple was better than him. Humph, it might be late for a fight, but we still need to clear some things out. Unable to flex before the girl of his dreams just because of Wu Qinkyu's smooth words, Ouyang Changqing grumbled, I'm a reasonable man. I know you think the world of Zhuo Fan, but isn't it because he's stronger than you? Ha ha ha, I saw it myself, so I know it's true. That is his talent. While his few decades on this earth can't possibly compare to the experience my father and the elders have accumulated. You think he can handle something my dad can't? I only put myself in their stead and called him a punk. What's wrong with that? Wu Qinkyu shook his head. Young Master Ouyang is right, but you fail to understand Brother Zhuo. Only by experiencing his tactics will you realize just how much better he is than many seniors. Why else would sect leader Ling and the others lower themselves to ask for a convict's help? Anyone would try anything when the time is dire. Ouyang Changqing rolled his eyes. Yilin smirked. Why haven't they come to you then? You. Ouyang Changqing glared at him in anger. The elders then walked over, having returned from the dungeon. Only this time, they looked much brighter and worry-free from the time they left. Among their starry eyes of hope was Zhuo Fan holding Chu Qingcheng's soft hand and Kaior in the other. The elders were even acting like servants, bowing and scraping before Zhuo Fan like he was their ancestor. The disciples were mind-blown. What just happened? Why is a convict being hailed a hero? The elders are cloyingly nice with him, like they had no dignity to speak of. Ouyang Changqing gaped there for a while, giving time for Zhuo Fan's procession to step inside the main hall. Ouyang Changqing then woke up and rushed to Ouyang Lingshan. Dad, wait, what's going on? Why are you so nice to some punk? Does he have such a brilliant plan to turn things around? Not yet, but soon. Ouyang Lingshan patted his head and rushed inside the main hall. Ouyang Changqing's face twitched and looked back at the rest of the stunned disciples. The damn punk sure has talent to swindle that many old men. I just can't figure what grand plan he might have to even get my dad, a seasoned cultivator, to follow him around. Just what did he do? Everyone shook their heads. Ha ha ha, I did tell you. There are times when Brother Zhuo is shrewder than any elder, Wu Qinkyu proudly said. Ouyang Changqing was most confused, still in disbelief. A damn brat just hoodwinked a bunch of seasoned old men. They were all grinning from ear to ear like they just found their Lord and Savior. How could a brat pull it off, godlike? Why hasn't Dad ever looked at me like that? Ouyang Changqing was stumped, while Murongzu totally blown away. The most she believed was if these elders accepted Zhuo Fan's foul plan, the world would be in chaos from his despicable and cruel methods. But now it was way worse. These leaders of their own land had not just accepted his plan, but even worshipped him. Now the damage he'd do would only multiply. Murongzu caught Murong Lai, who was last to go in, with unease and held his hand. Brother, what's happening? Weren't you all going to ask him for a solution? Why is he out and about? I'd get it if it was his condition, but why are you all acting? Zuer, you weren't there so you don't know. We've sorely underestimated him. Murong Lai took a deep breath. Murongzu said, Brother, what does that mean? His mind is sharp and astute, his plans sublime, inhumane even. I am a firm belief he may be the only one in the lands that can stand up to Bailey Jingwei. Murong Lai looked ecstatic. We had yet to explain Bailey Jingwei's actions to him, yet he already foresaw it. We ourselves just became aware of this, but he already knew. Isn't that divine? That's why we discussed having this danger on the lands averted, making him the Four Lands Grand Marshal in control of everything. Everyone will heed his orders, including us. What? Everyone around gasped and began whispering, Grand Marshal of the Four Lands, equal to becoming the ruler of them all. And he can deploy anyone. Yeah, it's that simple, but in times of war, we need him to resolve this crisis. Looking at them so shocked, Murong Lai waved his hand. This is the situation. Now I need to go in and discuss further matters. For once, Shangyun clan head's choice truly lives up to the hype, ha ha ha. Murong Lai slipped inside the main hall, leaving all these people behind to process such explosive news with dumb looks. Wu Qinkyu was the first to come to, looking at his fellow disciples, Yi Lin and at Ayang Changqing. See, this is the power of the best disciple in Western lands. While we are squabbling over who is the best disciple in the alliance, he already took control of the Four Lands, becoming their Grand Marshal. The elders are even following his orders. This is the gap between us. We are his peers, yet left in the dust, so far behind we can't even see him. Everyone bobbed their heads, then shook it in helplessness. The more behind they were in regards to that monster, the more despair they felt. The most prideful man ever, Ayang Changqing, felt the sting much deeper than the rest. No, any rotten plan coming from that demon would bring about only suffering and pain. He can't be left in charge of the war. There'll be no one left alive to pick up the pieces. Murong Zhu was outraged and stormed into main hall, fanatic in her conviction. The others were still trying to come to terms with what they saw to stop her. For the first time, Ayang Changqing's ego was so crippled, he could not attend to the girl of his dreams. He sighed to Wu Qinkyu, I've never seen those old guys bow to anyone in my life. That best disciple of yours is a freak of nature. Since you're around him all the time, isn't his style influencing your cultivation and mind? We're still safe since he didn't get to reach Double Dragon Manor when he presumably died. Our minds had yet to be corrupted, ha ha ha. Wu Qinkyu's group flinched and let out a dry laugh. Ayang Changqing nodded. What a stroke of luck, for if it were me, just being constantly compared with such a freak would give me a stroke from all the anger. Just how did he get to lead the Four Lands? Ayang Changqing sat down with a dull gaze. Murong Zhu just drove right into the main hall. She saw Ling Yunshin and other Genesis stage experts pushing their Yuan Qi in Zhuo Fan's acupoint, and soon his cultivation was released. Zhuo Fan stretched a bit and nodded with a grin. Murong Zhu glared at him, but bowed before Ling Yunshin with a request. Sect leader Ling, you said you were only going to hear his plan. Against my principles, I choose to respect that decision. But his mind is warped, so how can you let him take control of the Four Lands armies? There are too many lives at stake. The slightest mistake will lead to a genocide. Miss Murong, that's exactly why we have all come to this decision to let Sir Zhuo be in charge. Only he can fight a genius like Bailey Jingwei. Miss Murong, would it be possible to address your bias to Sir Zhuo? Ling Yunshin regarded her with a cold eye, fed up with this zealous girl. Murong Lai no longer took her side after Zhuo Fan made him a believer out of his skills. Zhuer, this is for everyone's good, so don't let emotions or your moral obligation cloud your judgment. None of us could suffer the consequence of losing this war. Then I request for Zhuo Fan to be under constant supervision, to stop him from abusing his authority. Every order needs unanimous approval before it is to be carried out. It's the least measure of safety we can have to prevent his poison from seeping into the masses. Murong Zhu stared burning daggers of hatred at Zhuo Fan. With not even her own brother taking her side, she knew Zhuo Fan had them wrapped around his finger, and she could do nothing to change that. She could only compromise, no longer demanding his swift execution, and instead try to curb his authority. The others looked hesitantly towards Zhuo Fan. It would be a good idea to have a safety net in this chaos, stopping everything from devolving any mistake into a catastrophe. So they turned to him to see his take on it. Zhuo Fan spoke uncaring. Have you all forgot my first condition back in the dungeon? Complete control. And now you want to restrict me. Fine, I'll just quit. Wait, Sir Zhuo, that's not it at all. Just, Ling Yunshin was panicking, glancing at Murong Zhu. It's only Miss Murong's idea for an extra precaution. In the case when Sir overlooks something, we can easily address the issue before it devolves. Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow in mockery. Overlook, ha ha ha, true, no one is perfect and infallible. I will be sure to make mistakes. Then does Sir, not happening. Just as Ling Yunshin saw hope, Zhuo Fan snuffed it out, flying into a rage. Sect leader Ling and Miss Murong, what do you take war for? The two had no reply ready. They were mere cultivators and knew little about war and all its aspects. Isn't it mere fighting the other over resources and land? What else can it be? Zhuo Fan's eyes shone coldly. War is a game. A game, Murong Zhu flared. You're treating the horror and suffering the people endure on the battlefield as a game. This is absurd. How do you intend to win this war if you can't even take it seriously? Sect leader Ling, I still believe he isn't right for. Miss Murong, you're the one underestimating war. Zhuo Fan shouted over her. War is only a game. All the people, assets, and locations are the pawns of the player. To win the war, one must use the least of his pawns to grasp most pawns of the enemy. Life and people have no place in it. A commander having a heavy conscience over these trifles can never win, and when he loses, the casualties mount in piles. Murongzu's lips shook, unable to retort. Zhuo Fan's gaze was ice, staring her down. What war out there doesn't have casualties, using your own people's lives in exchange of the enemy's? This is war in its purest form, a concept no one can deny. Miss Murong goes on and on about suffering and pain. Then do you believe with that you can win on kindness alone? Taking command yourself will be the worst choice. Making you an aide is handicapping the commander. For victory, yes, I may trade a large number of lives, but your kindness will stop my orders and result in a larger bloodshed. You want to save the people or win the war? Which is it? I think that winning the war means saving the people, ha ha ha. Murongzu's eyes flashed with determination, but it was Ling Yunshin who stepped in to speak what everyone else believed. But all here knew winning the war and saving the people hardly were connected. Central Area's army was marching on northern lands, but the people might survive. All this talk was to give oneself a just cause, if nothing else. They just wanted to win the war and not save the people. Murongzu's stance was thus in conflict with everyone else's from the start. As we gave our word to let Sir Zhuo decide everything and he doesn't agree, we will have to veto your request. Wait, Zhuo Fan held up his hand, looking from Murongzu to Ling Yunshin. Sect leader Ling, I'm not doing this to hold all power, but because the circumstances demand it. All here know that Bailey Jingwei is leading the other camp, with nothing holding him back. I need to do the same, and not out of arrogance in my infallibility, but that even if there are things overlooked, you might not notice them but will distract me from doing my job with your actions. All tensed and gave a dry smile. Sir Zhuo, what are you? Ha ha ha, sorry, it may be hard to accept, but it's the truth. We are all clear on the fact that the war is a game between me and Bailey Jingwei. No matter what move we make, only we grasp the full implication it entails. Anyone watching would be blind to its intricacies, so it's best to not interfere. Just do what I say and don't ask questions. Are you calling us fools? Bu Xingyan's face twitched and fell. We can't even join the fight between you two? Zhuo Fan smiled. We each know ourselves best, which is why this is the second reason I don't need assistance. Ha ha ha. Ha ha. That's a mockery if I ever heard one. You just got out of jail and started acting smug. See how I throw you back in? Bu Xingyan grew enraged as he let anger get the best of him, even attacking. Ling Yunshin jumped before him. Sect leader Bu, you're in the Sea Bright sect. Can you please have some of the courtesy of a guest? Sir Zhuo could have just as well been a simple guest, and you'd have still had no right to treat him like this. Bu Xingyan's mouth twitched, gnashing his teeth as he glared at Zhuo Fan. Sir Zhuo, forgive me, sect leader Bu is a bit rash, don't mind it. He let out a deep breath, sighed, and bowed to Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan smirked at Bu Xingyan. No worries, I've seen my fair share of mangy curs. I don't have time to pay attention to all the barking, ha ha ha. Xingyan's eyes were bloodshot, but Ling Yunshin's glare made him flinch back. The latter turned to Zhuo Fan with a bow. Sir Zhuo, please, allow me to introduce you to the current affairs before you pass your instructions. Ha ha ha, the front lines are strong with east and west. That won't be necessary. Zhuo Fan held up his hand, his eyes flashing. Sect leader Ling, I already said that Bailey Jingwei is a politician. His attention is not on the front lines, so we don't need to give them any either. Ignore the front lines, Murongzu winced, never hearing this kind of reason before, and defied his logic. As the Grand Marshal, you refuse others' advice, you ignore the battlefield. So how then do you intend to fight? How do you intend to command? I may not be versed in the art of war. I have seen my fair share of leaders and their armies, but never one to give blind orders like you. Who do you think you are, divinity? Behold and witness my divinity, ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan shrugged, leaning into the tutor chair as he ordered. Have all lands, beside northern lands, withdraw all troops. Give up the borders and fall back to the center. Like Double Dragon Manor for western lands, the other lands must have their own main base. They have 3 days to gather in their respective bases. What? Everyone went wide-eyed, Ling Yunshin's hand still gesturing at the map, shaking from fright. Sir Zhuo, come again? All lands are to fall back to their bases. That will leave the enemy free rein to march into our homes, and we'll have a harder time fighting back. That's like giving the lands to the enemy. Sir Zhuo, please. You don't trust me? Zhuo Fan scanned their eyes, mocking. Fight it yourself then and leave me out of it. No, Sir Zhuo, we only find this order a bit ridiculous. We just don't know what Sir is aiming for by doing this. Ling Yunshin saw the others looking bleak as well. Zhuo Fan smirked. Didn't I tell you, when I make a move, you won't see its truths. Isn't this obstruction of duty? You are to relay my order at once. Any delay from your part will lead to defeat and disaster, which is on you. Zhuo Fan rolled his eyes and exasperatedly placed one leg over the other, taking his time to relish the song he was humming. The war and anything were of no concern to him, but that did not apply to the rest of the frantic leaders here, who were a distressed and nervous wreck. Zhuo Fan's foresight and insight were unquestionable. Stealing Heaven's Sealing Sword from them, helping Shangyuan clan retrieve Soaring Sword, and fighting Bailey Jingwei spoke for themselves. Then there was now Zhuo Fan throwing out a random order with no rhyme nor reason, no different from suicide, and expecting them to just accept it. By following this over, they thought, would lead to the fall of the 3 lands in under a month. And by denying it, the lands might hold their ground for a year or so, at best. Just what secrets does his order hold? The oldies looked at each other, stumped, filled with hesitation. Sect leader Ling, brother, I told you this guy's head is filled with rotten plans, don't be fooled. He's making every land commit suicide. Murongzu's decisive tone cut the awkward mood, using this chance to get back at Zhuo Fan and expose his foul deeds. The others frowned, eyeing the casual Zhuo Fan undecided still. Zhuo Fan smirked, the only reason you bowed and scraped for my help was to get you out of this crisis. No, since you're going to die anyway, you're afraid of going a couple days earlier. Humph, bunch of ninnies. Guard. Ling Yunshin had enough of worrying and ordered, notify all lands to fall back, abandon the front lines and return to their bases. They have 3 days. Yes, sir. The man flew away to pass his words. The others panicked. Sect leader Ling. Anything is better than nothing. Do any of you have a better idea? Ling Yunshin sighed and said, Sir Zhuo, we followed your wishes. What do we do next? Zhuo Fan smiled. Wait. The next step comes after 3 days. In 3 days we'll see the effect. Ling Yunshin startled him and everyone else. Zhuo Fan nodded. Yep, haste makes waste. Lighten up, the lands won't perish in 3 days. Also, since you trust me, I will cooperate on my side as well. Zhuo Fan turned serious and gestured for a merchant guard to lend him his ear. You can go back and report to Wu Randong at once and restore the company in the central area. No, in every other land than northern lands that is at war. So soon, but with the lands at war. It's only war that offers us unique opportunities. While the factions fight, we may still be walking in shadows, but we will expand greatly from it as well. Once dust settles, the chance will be missed as well. Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed. Pay particular attention to the central area and move fast and hard. I want Bailey Jingwei's worst nightmare to come alive before his eyes. He won't be able to stop it then, ha ha ha. The man nodded and bowed. I obey, sir. He took the other caravan guards and left. Watching them go with such haste, Ling Yunshin was bemused. Sir Zhuo, I had our own men work in tandem with your movements. Devil Mountain may be a hidden sect and doesn't involve itself in mortal affairs, but it still holds sway among mortals. I had them make contact and help you stir some trouble for our dear friend Bailey Jingwei. Truly, Ling Yunshin lit up with joy and bowed. I am most honored to have the great Devil Mountain offer assistance. Thank you, sir, for everything. The others were also happy they made the right choice in putting Zhuo Fan in the lead of the Alliance's army. He even got his sect involved, which was a cause for celebration. Zhuo Fan was modest. It's nothing, just a few mortal forces. Though my sect is hidden and away from mortal affairs, ha ha ha. It's not to help you by any means, just expanding my power while I'm at it. I'm not a soup kitchen, so I don't work for free, ha ha. Zhuo Fan rolled his eyes while Murongzu stared intently at him, like looking at a criminal. Your game won't work, not while I'm watching your every move. In Western lands, Alliance leader Luo Yunhai with Xu Chengfeng, Leng Wucheng and Yu Ming were in the commanding tent discussing plans with a sigh. People, it's been 3 long days of analysis and scouting. Do you have any idea how to fight the enemy? Luo Yunhai looked haggard as he turned to his aides. The 3 shook their heads in helplessness. Yu Ming was the most versed in military and pointed at the enemy camp on the map. The enemy is Zither Sword King, of no military background and knows nothing about leading soldiers. Their ranks aren't tight either. Anyone else would have had an easy time fighting them, but they have the advantage in power. Their 20 million men are most experts, with Zither Sword King the strongest of them all, able to fight thousands. No matter what tactic, what maneuver, what trap we use, their power will mow us down with a frontal assault each time. Yu Ming glanced at Leng Wucheng. Don't look at me. Since you can't figure it out, you think I can. My opponent ain't any weaker than yours. Leng Wucheng sighed and shook his head. All strategy is based on overt and covert tactics. Overt regards formations, while covert hide intentions to a sinister outcome. However, while Zither Sword King leads the army, a practitioner, the strategist is none other than the best official in the central area, Bailey Jingwei. He is skilled in overt and covert alike. It's impossible to grasp any weakness to exploit. I have taken a look at the situation, and Bailey Jingwei has made his deployment unbreakable. The only chance I can gather is from the rear. Yes, he is attacking the 4 lands with an army each, so the lands would have no time for anything else. A master stroke. The 4 lands can no longer take care of each other in this case. But it's also because of this that he leaves his back open. We need to make a commotion in his rear and will force him to withdraw in panic. Leng Wucheng spoke solemnly, pointing at the map. However, all paths out of the four lands are blocked. Who will reach his rear? That's why the only weakness can't be leveraged. Bailey Jingwei's armies march with all their might upon us, trapping us and leaving us no room to win. Luo Yunhai overlooked the tactical map in deep worry. Yes, with the four lands under attack, making use of the front to gain any semblance of success is an impossibility. Sir Leng, is there any chance whatsoever that we can attack the central area's heart? Rumors, divide and conquer, or any tactic to raise doubts and crumble their military offensive? Well, Leng Wucheng shook his head, turning to Zhu Chengfeng, passing the baton. Clan head, Zhu Chengfeng has once been an empire's prime minister. He is much better suited for this, ha ha ha. Luo Yunhai looked onto Zhu Chengfeng with hope, the Luo clan's great steward. Zhu Chengfeng rolled his eyes and sighed. Sir Leng, you're so sly, knowing there's no solution yet dragging me into this. Are you mocking me? Leng Wucheng lowered his head with a grin. Steward Zhuge, there's no weakness we can exploit inside their hearts either. Luo Yunhai's eyes shook and his heart fell. Zhu Chengfeng pondered before sighing. Clan head, forgive my incompetence. The Sword Star Empire has been a baffling nation since inception. Normal tactics don't work on it. In normal empires, the emperor would be in constant dissent with his officials, one side striving to better the other, and while a direct military offensive would show little result, inciting the enemy court would pit them against each other. Luo Yunhai knew this all too well. His godfather was a victim of it. He hated these suspicions between the lord and its subjects, but also knew their value. In any empire, no matter how strong, suspicions between the lord and the officials would lead to mistakes that brought about collapse. One could have a godly commander and flawless officials. As long as the emperor mistrusted them, he would do all he could to relieve them of their lives. What came next was the enemy nation having their trouble while the crisis was averted in this situation. Luo Yunhai, a modest man, found this underhanded tactic the most plausible. In any case, all is fair in love and war. Winning was all that mattered, with no tactic being avoided, be it overt or covert, though judging by Zhu Chengfeng's look, such a tactic wouldn't work. Clan head, the Emperor Bailey Jingxi is no less able as Bailey Jingwei, thus making such a tactic fruitless. But the crux is the Sword Star Empire's structure, unlike your average empire, and sowing dissent won't work on it. The Emperor and the Prime Minister are appointed by Bailey Yushin. This leads to no conflict between the two and thus no suspicions. Zhu Chengfeng sighed, the Emperor doesn't fear his minister, and the same goes for the latter. The two work together like a double-headed dragon in ruling the empire. And even if, by absurd, dissent works, Bailey Jingwei's military command won't be affected by the emperor. The only appropriate target for dissent is Invincible Sword. Alas, he's a madman, thinking himself on top of the world and finding even the Sword Star Empire beneath him, telling him that Bailey Jingwei is against him. He won't believe it or even care for that matter. He is certain that nothing in this world can make him fall and thus nothing matters. Yeah, Invincible Sword is beyond arrogant, which makes him a worse target for dissent because he doesn't care in the first place, no matter how things play out. Leng Wucheng hesitated. Fear is the easiest emotion one can leverage. Without it, he won't argue with vile people. Zhu Chengfeng eyed him. Sir Leng, who are you calling vile? Steward Zhu, you understand that some debatable methods are unavoidable in diplomacy. I'm not cursing you. Leng Wucheng chuckled. Zhu Chengfeng smirked. We're all wallowing in trickery, with neither one of us any better. But isn't it all for the swift rise of the clan? True, we had to pull strings and make sure our new allies would see dangers outside the protective embrace of our Luo alliance. Hasn't Steward Zhu put us here for this reason? Had we been any upright, Steward Zhu would have never chosen us as clan head's aides. Yu Ming sighed. They all had to nod at that, with Leng Wucheng resuming. Clan head is just too morally bound, leaving the dirty work to us. Only now we three have the same enemy, yet can't help clan head overcome this problem. I wonder how Steward Zhu would approach this. The four looked lonely, with Luo Yunhai still feeling the loss of his friend. Brother Zhu, I thank you for all you did in the battle with Quanrong and preventing the people of Tianyu from suffering. Now all of Western lands are in peril. Just where are you? What should I do? Yunhai. A soft voice suddenly broke the silence as two figures burst into the tent. Luo Yunhai gasped, Sister Yuer, what is it? Since Yuer has finished her current supply orders for the Luo Alliance, we came to see you. Luo Yuncheng smiled at her brother, looking fondly. Yunhai, you've been looking a bit thin lately. You need to take care of yourself. Luo Yunhai chuckled. It's fine. The other three bowed to the girls. Greetings, young Miss Madam. There's no need for courtesy. You have been helping Yunhai all this time, and I am grateful to you for relieving some of his worries. Luo Yuncheng replied in kind, with the three bowing again. Young Miss is too kind. Husband, we heard Sister Lei say the enemy camp is showing movement. They're going to attack soon. Do you have any plans? Yue went to Luo Yunhai's side and looked concerned. He and the other 3 men all shook their heads. Yue fell silent before smiling. Husband, don't worry too much. Sister Shuinger had gone to her ancestral home to pray for a solution to her ancestors' spirits. She said heaven might help us turn things around. Holy Maiden has seen the disaster coming and has divined that overcoming it is beyond impossible. It's no less difficult from Tianyu's last war. All we can do now is do our best and follow heaven's will. It is up to it if we are to perish. Luo Yunhai shook his head with a bitter look. Yue rushed to console him. Husband, Sister Shuinger said the ancestors' divination is far more precise than hers and may work in our favor. Don't be discouraged. Hasn't the last crisis of Tianyu been solved as well? That was with Brother Zhu's help. Holy Maiden said he operates outside heaven's will and can change it. How then could we, mere mortals, fight the heavens? The others' hearts sank. Zhu Changfeng and the others refused to believe this, that they would rather fight the heavens above. But as matters stood, it was out of their hands. They had no hope but to trust in fate. No matter what, let's wait for Shuinger's reading. If heaven can't be swayed, we just do our best to fight it. Luo Yuncheng spoke with determination, the others nodded. Wu Xian Shuang rushed into the tent and gasped for breath. A sliver of hope just appeared. What? The fates are shifting. Yun Shuang panted, yet her eyes glimmered with hope. I've read the heavens with the ancestor spirit's help when going to my home and saw total demise, but then the fates changed. A power unlike any other is shaping fate, presenting us with a sliver of hope. We may fight this war yet. Luo Yunhai gave a shaky question. Holy Maiden, what do you mean? It's just like the last great war of Tianyu. Someone outside fate is fighting it. The central area's certainty of winning against the 4 lands might crumble. Luo Yunhai gasped. Another man like Brother Zhu is involved in this war. But Holy Maiden, didn't you say there are no other people outside fate? How come another one appeared so soon? I am unclear. Could it be a flood of unchained people? Frowning, Yun Shuang looked confused, but with how big the world is, there's a chance a second one had to appear. Luo Yunhai squinted, incredulous. People are born between heaven and earth. Just how coincidental this is, for a person outside fate to appear right when the need is dire. People, I have a strong feeling this person is known to us, as if... Luo Yunhai trailed off. Even he felt his guess was outrageous. Their disappointment would be too great if it proved to be false. Yet his eyes were filled with excited tears, his heart drumming in his chest. Brother Zhuo, have you come back? Marshal Luo, orders are here. An elder came into the commanding tent as he boomed. The hopeful, curious, and tense gazes had him pause. What's wrong? Luo Yunhai smiled and said, Commander Taoba, what urgent order has you running here? Rig Chuo Bataishan, you were quite cocky when you were invited into the Luo alliance and even gave us many conditions. It's only due to our kind clan head and his respect for seniors that he agreed without delay. If it were me, Humph, Leng Wucheng mocked, so what is it this time that you have to relay the order in person? Back then you insisted on being on equal grounds with clan head. Not even the 7 houses joining the Luo alliance first were treated as such, yet a defeated Quanrong commander, Sir Leng, Luo Yunhai cut him off with a look, cupping his hands to Chuo Bataishan. Forgive me, Steward Leng has been rude to Commander. Please accept my apologies in his stead. No, Marshal Luo, it's I who is sorry. Chuo Bataishan sighed. Sir Leng is right. I was very rude when I joined Luo alliance, proud of my seniority. But that was because of being a defeated commander, thinking that I would receive a cold reception. I never thought I'd see Marshal Luo to be so courteous and magnanimous. I feel ashamed. I've come to know many of the Quanrong imperial family's secrets, and when I should have been silenced, the Luo alliance took me in and protected me. I thank you so much, Marshal Luo, for saving my life. Chuo Bataishan gave a deep bow, and Luo Yunhai went to help him up. Commander Taoba, you're an undefeated god of war like my godfather. It is Luo alliance's honor to have you. I could never watch as a hero commander ends up framed. Commander, you needn't trouble yourself over such small things. Chuo Bataishan was touched by Luo Yunhai's respect and grabbed his hand. Luo clan's righteousness is without equal. Commander, you're exaggerating. Luo Yunhai smiled, then grabbed his hand hard. Luo Yuncheng and Yue were watching contentedly. Only Leng Wucheng remained unfazed, speaking with Zhu Chengfeng. Old man, you'd think the old commander would be as excited if he knew you had a hand in making the Quanrong emperor wish him dead. Zhu Chengfeng shot him a sharp glare. Don't let clan head hear you. Let only us know of these dark things we do. The old coot was conceited when clan head invited him in, but now look at him. If not for clan head having a soft spot for him, and with us needing to expand our military, you'd think I'd waste time over this. Anyway, it's our duty to help clan head in his plans, the same thing Steward Zhuo had done back in the day. The only reason my trick worked was because the Quanrong emperor already had a bad impression of the old man. In the end, it's the conflict between lord and official that led to this. I only revealed the issue to him and helped him out. Or once the situation devolved anymore, they would be at each other's throats and there was no saving we could have done. Even if clan head finds out at some point, I did it for the greater good. Lang Wucheng nodded. Who hasn't? Ha ha ha. Commander, you were in quite the hurry. What is you coming here in person? Luo Yunhai asked. Zhuo Fan started and then recalled his mission, presenting a jade slip in anger. Marshal Luo, this is preposterous. I don't know what those leaders are thinking about sending such an absurd order. They want all the lands beside northern lands to fall back to their bases. Isn't it clearly making it worse? The defenses and arrays on the borders are our greatest asset. Leaving them behind will give the enemy free rein to cull us down at every turn. Just what are those guys doing? Is this true? Luo Yunhai gasped, reading the jade slip at once and his face sinking. Letting the enemy take our greatest defense is simply suicidal. Zhuo Fan nodded in anger. Precisely. Those morons haven't ever stepped foot on a battlefield and now they start giving orders to us seasoned generals. Our defeat is certain now, though even defending wouldn't assure a win, will at least last for a lot longer. Marshal Luo, you're the exalted Double Dragon's appointed chief of Western Lands' defenses before their departure. All of us will listen to you. What should we do? When the general's away, the Lord's orders can't reach him. Luo Yunhai threw the jade slip as he spoke harshly. No one with the slightest military common sense would ever follow such an idiotic order. They're treating war as a game. Yes, those leaders must have lost their minds to send such an order. One land's leaders might propose it, but the other three actually accepted it. Are they all idiots? Zhuo Fan ranted, his anger burning brightly. I just can't believe our leaders would be so useless. Just how on earth did the four lands even survive for so long against the central area's attacks? The others nodded and Lang Wucheng spoke. Clan head, no matter who issued this infantile order, it comes from straight above. Refusing, even if winning, will incur punishment. Maybe it will mark the end of our place in Western lands. We have nothing to gain from it, so why still fight? There are some things a man must do. A soldier must do his duty. I fight to stop the central area's oppression and trample of the Western lands so that the people can be safe and not for the appreciation of the higher-ups. Luo Yunhai huffed and shouted, as long as there's even a man alive from Luo clan, we will defend Western lands. I am a marshal of Western lands for a reason, and I intend to uphold my duty. Let those leaders go to hell, I still have a conscience. The others' hearts thumped, looking at him in admiration. Luo Yuncheng and Yuer nodded in appreciation. Husband is more and more like master. He's been under Zhuo Fan's influence from the start. Some things were bound to rub off on him with how close they were. Luo Yuncheng smiled. Zhuo Fan gave a thumbs up. Marshal Luo is a true man. Since Marshal Luo lives for Western lands, then I shall join you in this endeavor, ha ha ha. Since Clan Head has made his decision, we shall abide by it. Lang Wucheng and the other two bowed. Clan Head is upright and frank, but we cannot let you fall here. What Steward Zhu left us to do is to assure this by doing things the Clan Head can't. Leave the mediating with the leaders to us, but before that, we need to understand what they're thinking. Commander Talba, which leader proposed it, who was against it, and who delivered it? We need a clear picture to break Clan Head from the stain of defying orders. Zhuo Fan frowned. I'm not sure either. I had someone investigate when the order came. It's been a day now. I want to know whose brain is rotten to send such idiotic orders. What right does he have to command us? Report. A shout announced the coming of a guard. Zhuo Fan smirked. Here he comes, he, come in. Whoosh, the soldier knelt before them and spoke. Marshal Luo, Commander Talba, the leaders have given us a reply to the order's source. It's from the newly appointed Grand Marshal of the Alliance, the first disciple in Western lands, Zhuo Fan. What? Everyone stared agape. Zhuo Fan? He's not renamed, is he? No, he said he's the best disciple in Western lands. You are started, then got excited. It's master. He's alive, only he is the real best in Western lands, the only one to defeat Yilin. Luo Yunhai shook all over from shock, but then got so excited he teared up. I just knew Brother Zhuo, the man outside fate, has come back. Yeah, only he is outside heaven's influence. Shuinger beamed. I'll have to trouble you once more, Steward Zhuo, to save the people. PR. Lol, so we gonna take back all that defamatory language. Haha. Yuncheng could no longer contain her emotions. She had shed so many bitter tears these years and now could not help but cry again. Yuer consoled her. Sister Yuncheng, master being alive is a good thing. Why, that rotten bastard, he hadn't sent a single word of how he's doing, letting us think he was gone, with even his corpse destroyed. Wiping the tears, Luo Yuncheng whined, but her eyes were dancing with joy. With a little hint of resentment hidden within, I'll find that dead guy and have him return what interest he owes me from these years plus more. The others smiled, with Yun Shuang looking happy as she said, Sister Yuncheng, you're not the only girl who Brother Zhu owes. Have you prepared yourself? Luo Yunqing blushed and glared at her. Fine, you can come. Of course, grandfather had me stay by his side and help him, so coming along is only natural. Xuenger giggled. Chuo Taishan waved the soldier away, then said, Miss Luo, I hope you don't mind, but take Lionel with you as well. Ever since Zhuo Fan left us 5 years ago, Lionel could no longer smile. 5 years ago, Luo Yunqing gave him an odd look. Commander Taoba, have you got it wrong perhaps? After Tianyu's war, Zhuo Fan had gone to the demon scheming sect, then made his name in the double dragon manor before he had been trapped and lost his life. When did he have the time to see your daughter? Chuo Taishan shrugged. It was when news of his death went around everywhere. He appeared in Quanrong, ruining beast-taming sect and vanishing again. Lionel misses him with a passion. Steward Zhu destroyed the beast-taming sect, Ling Wucheng said. Why hasn't Double Dragon Manor's investigation in Quanrong Empire brought any results? Chuo Taishan shook his head with a sigh. It involved the Quanrong imperial family's shame. His Majesty ordered everything covered up. Zhuo Fan only destroyed the beast-taming sect, while His Majesty ordered me to kill those royal sons and the casualties that followed. We kept our lips sealed when Double Dragon Manor came around, letting not a single word about this or Zhuo Fan, afraid the secret might leak. Finally, His Majesty wanted to kill me to silence me as well, but it's all thanks to the Luo Alliance that I'm alive with my family. Yeah, we got it from here. Ling Wucheng cut him off. I just want to ask one thing. Commander has been one of us ever since you joined the Luo Alliance. You knew of Steward Zhu's survival and saw the young miss in pain, so why didn't you say anything? Yeah, why didn't you? Luo Yunqing stared daggers at him. I've always been respectful to you, senior, yet you're so cruel. Why haven't you spoken of it to any of us? They all surrounded him with savage glares. Luo clan's usual righteousness and upright stance forgave everything except this one time. They deserved to be petty for once. You knew how much we care for Steward Zhu, yet you said nothing, not even if he was alive. You're evil, Chuo Taishan sighed. I had my reasons for not revealing it. I've been a commander in Quanrong and a loyal official to His Majesty, even if he discarded me. Saying anything would lead to the Quanrong imperial family's scandal coming out. I am loyal to my country and could not afford such a thing to rock my home. Also, I noticed Zhuo Fan wanted obscurity. Saving me and my family, the least I could do was abide by his wishes. The others nodded. The old commander was loyal to a fault, so they could understand. Humph, the least you could have done is tell me. Luo Yunqing would not have it, glaring at Chuo Taishan in anger. Commander Taoba, do you have any idea how many tears I've spilled for that heartless man? Chuo Taishan bowed. I am terribly sorry, young miss, ha ha ha. It's all in the past now. Brother Zhu is back, so let's leave it be. Luo Yunhai understood the commander's loyalty and shielded him from his sister's wrath. Where were we again? Oh, the order, it's really ingenious. Chuo Taishan spoke firmly, his eyes twinkling. Ling Wucheng's face twitched. Commander Taoba, did we not just hear you call the leader an infantile moron? That was when I didn't know who gave it. Chuo Taishan raised an eyebrow. Anyone else would have rotten brains for giving such an order, but Zhuo Fan is someone I once fought with who loves to be mysterious. He has guile, he has awareness, striking out of nowhere with his baffling plans. Who can understand them? That's why I am sure this order is no different. Zhu Chengfeng waved him off with a smile. Commander, did you notice something to call it ingenious? It's because I can't find it ingenious. If any random guy can figure it out, wouldn't the enemy do the same? What be the point of it then? That's why I'm saying Zhuo Fan has some weird yet masterful plans, despite not being in the military. This is what makes them so dangerous. Chuo Taishan watched them in sympathy. Luo Alliance's sages, did any of you notice anything? The trio shook their heads. Steward Zhu's style has no guidelines. We wouldn't have suffered at his hand if we could read him back then, ha ha ha. Then the order. Chuo Taishan turned to Luo Yunhai and grinned. Luo Yunhai's eyes flashed and shouted, notify all Western Lands forces, they are to make swift departure for Double Dragon Manor. Yes, sir, the guards outside shouted and ran to their duties. At the border of the Central Area and Northern Lands, in the Central Area Army's commanding tent, Prime Minister Bailey Jingwei sat in the main chair with the dragon-cleaving sword king at his side. Glancing at him, Bailey Jingwei smiled. Dragon-cleaving sword king, it must be what you wanted, leading the army to attack Northern Lands. What do you mean? Danking Shen kept a smile on. Bailey Jingwei leaned over. Sword King is from Western Lands and knows it the most, making an attack on it most suitable. But I know Sword King cares too much for Western Lands still, and I'm afraid that you'd be overcome by emotion and would let your old friends go. Unlike Sword King Feiyun, jumping to attack Eastern Lands the moment he heard. He hates the Shangyuan clan to the core and wants to end them at his own hand and return to glory, ha ha ha. Ha ha ha, Prime Minister Bailey's consideration has us terrified. Danking Shen smirked. Prime Minister, we've been waiting for so long in Northern Lands, so we must be waiting for the right moment to attack, yes. Bailey Jingwei nodded. Correct. Patriarch has long since ventured deeper in northern lands. I am just waiting to coordinate with him and take it all in one strike. Ha ha ha. Report. A shout came from outside the tent. See, the time is night. Bailey Jingwei grinned with pride. Enter. A soldier burst in and bowed with a jade slip in his hands, a message from within containing valuable information. We're all friends here, speak. Bailey Jingwei picked up a wine cup from the table without a care. Is see bright sex barrier broken? Ha ha ha, it'll make Patriarch's attack that much easier. The guard bowed. Prime Minister, see bright sex barrier is broken and the heaven-sealing sword was stolen, but from what the jade slip contains, it's not him who did it, but a third party. Someone is after heaven-sealing sword as well. The cup shook in Bailey Jingwei's hand, then chuckled. No matter, as long as the barrier is down, they can no longer hide. It matters not who did it. In any case, once Patriarch steps in, the heaven-sealing sword is as good as his. Ha ha ha. The man's brow shook. His jade slip isn't to inform, but to warn the Prime Minister to be cautious. The one who stole the sword is very sharp. 3 days ago was in jail, but he talked his way into earning the respect and worship of all leaders of the Alliance, making him the Grand Marshal of their forces. He said this person is highly likely to be the greatest opponent Prime Minister ever had. He hopes that the Prime Minister will exercise extreme caution. My greatest opponent. Bailey Jingwei mocked. I've been going unchallenged among the lands for years, and hardly are there people that I pay attention to. Since when do I need a spy to tell me to be careful of anyone? Ha ha ha, absurd. Now who is he speaking of? The man took a deep breath and spoke. He said he was Western Land's best disciple, Zhuo Fan. He had also fought with Sir in the central area under the alias Gu Yifan. What, Zhuo Fan, Gu Yifan? Bailey Jingwei's hand flashed and took out a jade slip. But then he showed a crazed smile. I had men investigate Western lands to look into Gu Yifan, only to find an otherworldly genius, Zhuo Fan. I knew they were one and the same. Ha ha ha. Good, he is indeed a good adversary. We meet again, only this time we will see just who will have full grasp of the land's old enemy. The aged hands trembled, but as the initial surprise faded, Danking Shen curled up his lips. The enemy commander is Gu Yifan. Yes, or better yet, Zhuo Fan. Ha ha ha. Leaning on his chair, Bailey Jingwei sighed, his eyes flashing in excitement. Danking Shen sighed. It's hard to believe he's still alive and now becoming our enemy. By the looks of it, Prime Minister, you seem quite happy to find out the same guy you were so insistent on killing last time is now very much alive and in charge of the Alliance's military. Yeah, I wanted him gone then due to the danger he represented. But after seeing the war truly gone, I felt a sense of loss and regret. Such a good adversary was only met once, yet I couldn't even have a true and honest match with him. It was a true shame. Then I found out he survived, and while resentful, the prominent emotion was joy. Now look how soon we are back to fighting each other, and this time we'll have a real match. With the Sword Star Empire against the 4 lands, besides the experts, are around equal in military might. It comes down to us and our tactics, ha ha ha, though it's clear by Prime Minister's deployment that you have the upper hand. To the point, in only a couple steps you will be ready to strike, while he has many steps to compensate for to catch up to Sir's deployment. The war looks settled since it started. He'll have a hard time turning it around with so little time at his disposal. Danking Shen smiled. Bailey Jingwei smiled. The world isn't fair. I may hold the advantage now, but we both have around the same assets, his almost equal to mine. It's all down to his skill to overcome the danger. Ha ha ha, dragon-cleaving sword king, who do you think will win this time? Prime Minister, why even ask? Am I not leading the army against northern lands? Do I not want to win? Danking Shen's brow shook. Bailey Jingwei gave him a long look, then burst out laughing, his eyes shining. Dragon-cleaving sword king, I just want to hear your take on it. Last time, the guy had made a truly devious escape from right before our eyes. It's a loss I will never soon forget. I just had him on the ropes, hanging by a thread, so how could I have let him escape? Bailey Jingwei smiled at Danking Shen, the latter feeling the cold within. Bailey Jingwei wasn't blaming anyone, but doubts sprouted as to Danking Shen's role in Zhuo Fan's survival. Danking Shen squinted, his mind processing, while Bailey Jingwei was staring back with a cryptic smile. Report, a sudden shout broke the awkward mood as a soldier rushed in and on his knee. He held 3 jade slips. Prime Minister, Sword King, the 3 lands battlefields have sent jade slips. The Eastern, Western, and Southern armies are all withdrawing. They await Prime Minister's orders. Bailey Jingwei never left his gaze off Danking Shen as he chuckled. The 3 lands move as one. Then that guy has made his move. Dragon-cleaving Sword King, what do you think of it? Abandoning their borders means they've thrown away their defensive positions. Now we can go straight in and take the lands in one fell swoop. Pouring himself a drink, Danking Shen spoke. Only such a suicidal action defies logic. The land's borders falling means the sects and clans are on their own. with nothing standing behind them to help hold their ground. Not even your average man would give such an idiotic decision, let alone that twisted punk. What I think is that a trick is at play here. Bailey Jingwei smiled a nod. Yes, Dragon-Cleaving Sword King is right. With his cunning, he'd never make such a rash decision. He must have a plan, or Bailey Jingwei's eyes shone with another possibility. Give off the image that he has won. What does that mean? Blending reality with illusion is part of warfare. Bailey Jingwei explained. The three lands forces have no chance against ours, falling in a year at the latest. But he had given a radical order to disturb our morale, to raise our suspicion where there isn't any and force us to retreat out of caution. This would give them more time to prepare. This might be an empty city tactic. Danking Shen nodded. By going straight in, even if it is the empty city tactic, we'll find out soon anyway. Leaving behind such a defensive position would only lead to a crushing defeat. He's risking too much with such a daring move, and if it's not the empty city tactic, hiding something else will be in danger if we follow and might even suffer heavy losses. That's why we'll wait for his next step. The next step. Yes, Bailey Jingwei smiled in confidence. He wants to play games with me, but he must entice me first. A mere empty city tactic that might not even play as he wishes is bound to have a follow-up. Watching his next move will let me know his intentions. If there's an ambush to it, he will try anything to make me take the bait. Report. Another shout echoed and a guard barged in looking anxious. Prime Minister. His Majesty sent word of an uprising in every domain in the central area. The city lords and the soldiers are having a hard time fighting back. He asks for swift reinforcements. Central area is revolting, Danking Shen cried out in shock. How? We made sure every area in the central area was secured before marching. None would dare act out, so why would they do it now? How is it so serious that not even the city lord's forces can cope? Bailey Jingwei mulled it over and grinned. I see it now, a parlor trick. Dragon-Cleaving Sword King, can't you see it? See what? His linked plans. Bailey Jingwei gave a knowing smile of confidence. I now know why he used the empty city tactic. He first had them fall back to affect my mental state and hesitate on what to do. Then he had the Alliance's spies hidden in the central area cause a disturbance so that I'll be forced to quell it. It would lead to a lower casualty rate on the lands and also strike back at us in this timely manner while we aren't ready. Through this chance, he can even have us surrounded, storming the central area. It will turn our hard plan of attacking them all useless by attacking us in the rear. With the morale in shambles, he will have an easy time turning it around. Danking Shen nodded. It does seem like it. Prime Minister's wisdom has no bounds. Then His Majesty's request. Report to His Majesty to hold on. In a month I will take the three lands, then quell the chaos. Bailey Jingwei spoke with a grin. The soldier bowed and rushed to convey the message. Danking Shen spoke, addressing it after the three lands won't. Dragon-Cleaving Sword King, just how much trouble could some random spies cause anyway? To even think about toppling the core of our Sword Star Empire, ha ha ha. Bailey Jingwei didn't care at all. It's all Zhuo Fan's tactic to split our forces, but I'm too smart to fall for it. Also, I'll be sure to make him suffer for using the empty city tactic on me. Tell the three Sword Kings to march into the three lands head on. I want them to take their bases within a month. Yes, sir, a soldier outside replied and left. Bailey Jingwei's eyes flashed with victory at Danking Shen's pensive expression. In the main hall of Sea-Bright Sect, Zhuo Fan lounged in the main seat with unspeakable boredom. Around him were the same oldies frantic and distraught. Report, a disciple rushed to them and bowed. The others immediately asked, what is it? There's a report from the front. The central area's Sword Star Empire is under revolt, with the Emperor asking Bailey Jingwei for reinforcements. What? They all stared agape, then turned a bright face to Zhuo Fan. Great, Sir Zhuo. Devil Mountain is incredible to even raise chaos in the central area's heart. Bailey Jingwei will now have no choice but go back, ha ha ha. But, the disciple continued with a pained look. Scouts say Bailey Jingwei isn't heeding the Emperor's order, actually telling the other three Sword Kings to press on into the lands. Now the borders have fallen and the armies are advancing towards the land's bases with nothing standing in their way. What? Everyone shuddered, plunged into despair from their high.